SEC and national championship expectations abound in Auburn, Alabama. Why? Well, Gus Malzahn, a big reason why, the 2013 National Coach of the Year. And his quarterback, Nick Marshall, first team preseason All SEC. A packed Jordan-Hare Stadium hoping to shout War Eagle all night long. We welcome you to ESPN College Football Prime Time. And you're watching the SEC on ESPN. The fifth-ranked Auburn Tigers taking on San Jose State. Auburn won its SEC opener last week against Arkansas. Very impressive offensively. Surprise, surprise. 45 points and almost 600 yards of total offense. Hi, everybody. With Brian Greasy, I'm Dave Pasch. Tom Luganbill will join us shortly. Well, Brian, remember 2010, Cam Newton, a junior college transfer. Most people didn't know who he was. He leads Auburn to a national title. Same thing with Nick Marshall, a junior college transfer last year. Not many people had heard of him or his skill set. He takes into the national title game. Some people think Auburn, they're one-year wonder. You don't.
No, I don't. I'm not in that camp. As good a year as he had last year, I think he can be better in 2014. The big reason why, his offseason work throwing the football. He worked with offensive coordinator Rhett Lashley, Gus Malzahn, all summer long to improve his footwork, his reads downfield. We know how much sting this running attack has for Auburn. You start to add in the play action elements and Nick Marshall running this offense, having his second year in the system with Gus Malzahn, who's never had a quarterback in his second year. I think the sky is the limit for Nick Marshall.
He lost his left tackle, Greg Robinson, the number 2 pick in the draft. Trey Maceman, Heisman candidate last year. He's in the NFL, but 9 starters back. They have some new weapons at the wide receiver position as well this year. With more, here's Tom Luganbill.
Well, tonight, guys, Sammy Coates will go ahead and sit this one out. It's precautionary. It's a left leg injury. Not a big situation there. For Auburn, though, it's all about DeQuil Williams, the number 1 ranked overall player in the 2014 class out of the junior college ranks, burst onto the scene a week ago with 9 catches and providing an element to this offense that adds more weapons than they've ever had before on the perimeter. So when you take a look at DeQuil Williams and what he brings to this offense, take a look at him in the slot. You're going to notice him matched up against slot safeties and Sam linebackers, and he's an utter mismatch for opposing defense. DeQuil Williams is the new go-to guy for this offense as we see Auburn take the field in their quest for a second consecutive SEC championship.
And the fifth-ranked Tigers tonight welcome San Jose State. Kickoff is coming up from Jordan-Hare Stadium here in Auburn.
ESPN College Football Primetime is brought to you by AT&T, mobilizing your world, and Chick-fil-A. We didn't invent the chicken, just the chicken sandwich.
Well, 9 years ago, he was a high school coach in Arkansas. In 2014, Gus Malzahn is one of the biggest names in coaching in all of football, not just college. He's in his second season as the head coach at Auburn. He was an assistant and ran that offense for Cam Newton and company when they won the championship in 2010.
And he's got to feel like a kid on Christmas morning with having Nick Marshall back for a second year. They've worked all off season about how they're going to throw the ball down the field, and he can't wait to see how it's going to play out.
Ron Carragher in his second year replaced Mike McIntyre, who led San Jose State to 11 wins in 2012. McIntyre took the Colorado job, and Carragher comes from University of San Diego. He succeeded Jim Harbaugh there, former UCLA quarterback. Auburn won the toss and elected to receive. We'll get a look at that offense coming up. And Corey Grant are deep for the Auburn Tigers. Austin Lopez will boot it away. And we're underway here in Auburn. And taking a while is Ricardo Lewis before he takes a seat and will come out to the 25. Let's take a look at tonight's Chick-fil-A impact players.
Well, the coaches for Auburn feel like Duke Williams has changed everything for them on offense. He'll get a lot of looks without Sammy Coates playing this game. Uzama, how will he replace Jay Prosh in the running and passing game? And San Jose State's got their hands full. There's no question tonight, but Travis Ricci, their best defensive tackle, and Christian Taga will be all over the field, sideline to sideline, chasing this Auburn rushing attack.
First start for Nick Marshall. Did not start in week 1 because of a suspension, an off-the-field incident. Played the second half. Jeremy Johnson started the game and played great. And here's Marshall on the keeper on first down and showing strength out near the 35-yard line. Marshall last year accounted for 26 touchdowns, had over 1,000 rushing yards and almost 2,000 passing yards.
Yeah, you mentioned that suspension. I feel like Nick Marshall handled that beautifully in the offseason. You make a mistake, you own up to it, stood up in front of the team, really came out as a leader.
They get the first down here with Corey Grant. Tackled at the 45. You mentioned that Marshall stood up and talked to the team. Gus Malzahn didn't tell him to do that. Marshall did it on his own.
That's a sign of leadership. As a quarterback, you've got to take that role. He missed going to the ESPYs. You know, he missed going to media days. There were some things that he missed in the offseason, and all your teammates watch how you react to that.
Marshall throwing here, and it's caught by Lewis. He can't get away from Deshaun Frierson. Wrapped up at the 50-yard line, a gain of 6.
And you combine all of that with now him having another offseason to learn how do we want to play this position of quarterback in Gus Malzahn's offense. How do I make the right decisions, and how do I take control of this team? All those things factor into Nick Marshall being a bona fide Heisman Trophy contender this season.
Go with an empty set here, and it's a quarterback draw. Huge hole for Marshall inside the 25. Marshall breaks a tackle. Marshall for the end zone. The ball came out. No ruling yet. It went out of the end zone. It's a touchback. It's going to be San Jose State ball. A 49-yard run. He fumbled before pay dirt. And then it went out of the end zone, so it's a touchback. San Jose State ball.
Great effort on the back end by San Jose State. Get an arm on that ball. You got to secure all the way across the goal line. Quan Bray, number 4, they had a chance, but
Jimmy Pruitt knocked it out just before Marshall scored.
I know Nick Marshall's fast, and he feels like nobody's going to catch him from behind, but that's just giving a little bit of an opportunity for a guy to catch up and turns a touchdown into a touchback.
So it'll be San Jose State ball on the 20-yard line. Ron Carragher can't like what he saw in the play, but at least the end result, the effort didn't cost him anything. Good effort by the defender to knock it out. And now on first down, Brandon Monroe, and he fumbles the ball. There are 3 Auburn players on the football. Tigers get it right back. It's recovered by Jonathan Ford. Penalty marker down on the play, though. Might be a face mask here. That appeared to be what the linesman was mouthing to the referee, Dan Romeo. That's the case. San Jose State will get the ball back.
Personal foul, face mask, defense. That's a 15-yard penalty from the end of the fumble. First down.
Well, so far San Jose State has looked horrible, yet they have the ball at their 37-yard line because of Auburn mistakes.
Well, and you think about it, Ron Carragher's really behind the 8 ball. His starting tailback coming into the season. Jared Lawson was suspended for 2 games, and then Tom Tucker out with a foot. So they're really behind the 8 ball at that tailback position, and a mistake by Brandon Moore.
And the quarterback dumping it off Blake Jurich to his best receiver, Tyler Winston. And Winston is in the Auburn territory. Last week, Jurich only had 3 incompletions and had 3 touchdown passes. And he found Winston 10 times in that Week 1 win.
Well, and Winston's got to be the guy that gets involved early in this game. Not only did he have 10 catches last week, Dave, last 3 games he's had 10 catches apiece. So he is without question their go-to receiver.
Freshman of the year in the Mountain West last year. So from the Auburn 45, an empty set here. And everybody covered. Jurich incomplete, nearly intercepted. And he was trying to hit Winston on the play. Take a look at tonight's Chick-fil-A impact players.
We talked about Tyler Winston. I put Billy Freeman up here. He's a great tight end, but I just like the stash and wanted to get his picture on TV. And Montravius Adams, 300 pounds, moved from inside that defensive line position to the outside. They need pass rush on the outside. Casanova McKenzie's their Mike linebacker and leader who can put his hand down and rush as well in 3rd down situation.
I tried the Freeman look as well this week, but don't measure up. Here's 2nd down. They're going to run it. And a 2-yard gain as Monroe is met and dropped by Chris Frost. Started 1 ball game last year. Auburn thinks that it will be better against the run this year than last season. They're worried a little bit about putting pressure on the quarterback. Can they get pressure with 4, or are they going to have to blitz a lot in the SEC?
Well, we'll see right now. 3rd and 9, perfect down to get some pressure from the outside. They come out on the 3-down line. Expect some kind of pressure.
Little half roll for Jurich. Looking downfield. Now takes off and steps out of bounds. It's going to be 4th down. Robinson Threese was chasing the quarterback.
Good composure from Auburn defensively. They have that personal foul that negates the fumble, but they come back, they settle down. Last week, that was the problem against Arkansas. They gave up 150 yards on the ground in the first half, and Ellis Johnson, their defensive coordinator, said they felt like they lost a little bit of their composure early. Good sign that they come for get a stop on this drive.
Auburn was lined up for a punt return, but San Jose State is going for it, so they had to get a late substitution. 4th down and 12. What do you think of this move?
Oh, the pooch punt. They're going to line up, and they're going to call timeout. Ron Carragher is. I don't like this decision if they're going to go for it, but sometimes you line up like this, and the quarterback gets a little bit deep, and they pooch it down.
And we'll see what San Jose State does. Spartans have the ball in Auburn territory, 4th and long.
ESPN College Football Primetime is brought to you by the new $1 Cravings menu at Taco Bell, Live Más, and 5 expectation-shattering models. Another reason to experience the new Buick.
Well, Chris Davis went from beating Alabama, playing in a national championship game a few weeks later, to playing on Monday Night Football. He made the San Diego Chargers roster. Scenes from November 30th of last year. Kick 6 as Auburn knocked off Alabama 34-28. See the Heisman Trophy winners there in 2010 national championship. Also tonight, Auburn celebrating its 2004 undefeated season. San Jose State, after the timeout, elects to punt. True freshman Michael Carrizoza, a 230-pound punter, will boot it deep to Quan Bray. Not a good kick. Off the side of the foot of the punter. And the official will spot it past the 30 and about the 32-yard line. It's a 15-yard punt. No score. Could have been 7-0 if not for Marshall fumbling it out of the end zone just before he scored. Let's take a look at how Auburn is planning for success here tonight. Brought to you by Northwestern Mutual.
One of the things that sets Gus Malzahn apart is his supreme balance on offense. He wants to be inside, outside, and vertical. The inside game, that power downhill game, and the zone read inside, outside with speed. We've seen it with Ontario McCaleb in the national championship year, and now Corey Grant. And then lastly, play action. That's the piece that Gus Malzahn wanted to work on in the offseason that would add that last little bit of balance to this offense.
And Marshall looked like he might try to throw it there to Bray, and he is tackled for a loss at the 30-yard line. So a 3-yard setback. Forrest Hightower read that well.
Forrest Hightower as well as Simon Connett, the nickelback. Connett's going to be playing quite a bit in this game, number 28. He'll be up around the line of scrimmage. He's got a tough job, he and Hightower, reading the mesh points in this offense.
Now Marshall to throw on 2nd down and 13. And an excellent pass that's caught by Duke Williams into San Jose State territory. 10th catch of the season for Williams.
For as big as Duke Williams is, look how smooth he is in and out of the breaks. That's just off coverage. Post corner route.
37-yard gain, and now Cameron Artis-Payne, his first carry of the contest. 26 attempts, a career-high 177 yards last week against Arkansas. Auburn right to the line, looking to snap it quickly. And here's Marshall trying to find a hole, and he gets walloped by Christian Tago. Cedric Lucy there as well. So it'll bring up 3rd down and short.
Again, an undersized defense for San Jose State. Greg Robinson, their defensive coordinator, wants to get stalemates up front with their defensive line and allow Tago and Buhajir to run freely to the quarterback into the backs.
First year for Greg Robinson at San Jose State with Texas last year. And Artis-Payne gets the 1st down inside the 30. A gain of 7. You know, we were watching a game earlier today. Chuck Amato, the defensive coordinator at Akron. A lot of people didn't know where he was, and maybe some of you out there are wondering, oh yeah, I know Greg Robinson. Was it Michigan? Was it Syracuse as a head coach? Coach a long time in the National Football League as a defensive coordinator.
In his last 3 games, he's had to go up against Baylor, Oregon, and now Auburn. That's pretty tough duty for a defensive coordinator.
Marshall off play action, and the pass is nearly pulled in by C.J. Uzama, who had to adjust in midair to try to make the catch. It's 2nd down.
And these are the plays, the play action package that Gus Malzahn wants to start to employ. You see here a little bit of breakdown in the pocket, and Nick Marshall had to throw that a little bit before he wanted to, but if that ball's thrown downfield on the pylon, it's an easy catch for Uzama.
Marshall getting the check from the sideline. And the play clock down to 5, 2nd and 10. Marshall dumping it off to Marcus Davis. Tackled short of the 1st down at the 20 by Vince Buhajir. Missed all of last year with an injury, as Auburn again right to the line. 3rd down and about 2. Artis-Payne picking up the 1st down all the way to the 8-yard line. A gain of 12 on the play. 1st and goal for the Tigers.
And that's, I mean, what a luxury that is on 3rd and 4 to be able to go hurry up and run the zone read and get a 1st down. But that's why they're so explosive.
Artis-Payne again. Grab from behind at the 6-yard line by Lucy. Picked up a couple there. Trey Mason last year had 23 touchdowns, rushed for over 1,800 yards. They think Artis-Payne, who played some last year, has the same kind of talent as Mason.
Well, he dropped 10 pounds. He said he wanted to be quicker. He didn't want to be known just as that sledgehammer in between the tackles. He wanted to run outside as well.
On 2nd and goal, Artis-Payne inside the 5. And Buhajir greets him at the 4-yard line. So 3rd down and goal. He talked a lot about in our meetings about how Auburn has become 3-dimensional run, pass, play action. So there are a lot of options here for Nick Marshall.
Yeah, but here you keep the ball on the ground. I think, you know, with a quarterback like Nick Marshall, with his ability to run in the red zone, everything is constricted. The passing lanes are tighter. So we expect them to keep it on the ground.
3rd down and goal. And Marshall's going to throw here. Got a man wide open. Touchdown, Ricardo Lewis.
Great design from Gus Malzahn. You can tell this is part of the package that they've been working on. They came out in an unbalanced line. They hid Ricardo Lewis in a wing. San Jose State didn't recognize it, and he was wide open for the touchdown.
Lewis had that miraculous game-winning touchdown against Georgia last year. That was much easier. As he gets the first touchdown of the game, point after is good. And it's 7-0 Auburn.
Scoring drive, number 67 yards, 11
Welcome back, 7-0 Auburn. Little bit of a sugar huddle. Take a look. 3 wide receivers are lined up. They're going to take off quickly to the sideline. There they go. Now they're coming out to the sideline, and then they're going to come out an unbalanced set. You see 3 offensive linemen lined up to the right. Here's Ricardo Lewis. He's just going to sneak out in the back, and San Jose State is not ready for it. Nice job of retreat by Nick Marshall, and an easy throw to Ricardo Lewis.
11-play, 67-yard drive. Marshall 3 of 3 passing on 3rd down on that possession, including the touchdown toss to Lewis. Could easily be 14-0. Marshall fumbled inside the 5-yard line on his way to the end zone, fumbled it out of the end zone. A deep kickoff that will be a touchback, come out to the 25. Let's go to the studio and say hello to Adnan Vert.
Hello, Dave Pasch. Taco Bell studio update along with Coach Butch Davis. Michigan State and Oregon. Thomas Tyner, the touchdown here.
Yeah, just a simple dive play, pushes it in, gets it in for the touchdown.
And then Taylor Alley to DeForest Buckner. Oregon goes for 2, and they get it.
Yeah, this is one of those things you line up, you could call them back in to kick it. They got a mismatch 2-on-1. They take the opportunity, get the 2-point play.
11-0 Ducks. Dave, back to you.
How about Oregon? They're smashing Michigan State on that play we just saw on the touchdown. A lot of people wondered if they could be physical with Michigan State. Off the pump fake. Jurich got a man. It's caught. Pulled in by Tyler Irvin. Inside the 30. He didn't step out. He'll score. Touchdown, San Jose State. A 75-yard catch and run by Irvin.
touchdown play, 75 yards.
Auburn was beat twice in the first half last week against Arkansas when misreads. This is a slip screen with a wheel behind it, and Josh Holsey, number 15, the corner who's made the switch from safety to corner, got fooled with his eyes. Great play design from San Jose State and great execution.
Well, there's no question that Tyler Irvin has big play ability. 3 career kickoffs for touchdowns. Big play there on first down off of play action. And Auburn ties, or San Jose State rather, ties Auburn at 7th. 1-play drive. Took a shot too, but delivered a strike, hitting Irvin on the run. And Irvin did the rest. Monday Night Football is back. A Week 1 doubleheader at 7:10. It's the Giants and Lions, followed by the Chargers and Cardinals. Both games available live on Watch ESPN. Dave Pasch, Brian Greasy, Tom Luganbill. The Auburn defense gives up a big play. 75-yard touchdown pass by Blake Jurich to Tyler Irvin.
Lopez to kick for the Spartans.
A pack of Spartan fans making the trip. Northern California here, but most of the 80,000 plus in attendance rooting for the home team, as Ricardo Lewis will run it out. And Lewis has a huge gap past the 30-yard line, and it's the kicker that makes the tackle at the 42.
Well, Auburn's biggest Achilles heel last season was their coverage on the back end. Take a look. Tyler Irvin's going to come out of the backfield, and between the corners, freeze it right here, guy. Here's Josh Holsey, and here's the safety. They're responsible for that deep half of the field, and Josh Holsey just bites on the slip screen. And Tyler Irvin, who's got 3 career kick returns for a touchdown, that's the reason why they wanted him out there running that route. But between those two guys in the secondary, you got to communicate on the back end.
And on first down, another huge running lane. Corey Grant into San Jose State territory to the 42-yard line. It's a gain of 18.
Guys, take a look at Gus Malzahn as he's given the, hey, let's roll with it again. Run play to run play. You're not seeing a lot of tempo, but pay close attention to passing downs. That's when they're going to go up tempo. That's the trend in the first quarter for Auburn here.
They motion Grant into the backfield. They'll give it to him here inside the 35. And down to the 30-yard line. He's going to have to make a cut until he's about 8 or 9 yards downfield because the offensive line paving a way for him. Marshall this time. And Marshall dragged down near the first down around the 23-yard line, so a couple yards short.
We talked about Artis Payne losing 10 pounds. Corey Grant's gained some weight so they can run these inside zone plays.
Grant with the first down inside the 20 to the 15-yard line.
And guys on Auburn's team say that Corey Grant is pound for pound one of the strongest players on the team. He gets in there and works out in the weight room. He's a workout warrior. He wants to be a complete back just like Artis Payne does.
Marshall keeping and inside the 10-yard line. Hightower there first at the 8, but another big chunk running the football on first down. Gain of 7.
And both those guys, Grant and Artis Payne, they're looking at Trey Mason and what he did a year ago. Got to the finalist for the Heisman Trophy. You know, broke Bo Jackson's record. And both these guys, good friends, but great competitors also. And it's kind of interesting. They both want to be the feature back. I'm not so sure Auburn needs a feature back. I think both of them can contribute.
There's that sugar huddle, quick to the line, and now the pitch. And looking for a hole is Grant. Didn't find it. Only a gain of 1. So third down coming up. Well, it's not just Artis Payne and Grant. We imagine at some point we'll see true freshman Rock Thomas. Did not play as a running back in the opener against Arkansas, but they feel pretty good about him too.
And now you're really going to upset these two guys. They finally get their chance behind Trey Mason, and you want to talk about the freshman.
I'm not the only one talking about him. Third down and 3. Scored a touchdown on third down last time. And another big gap running the football off the left side. Artis Payne first down, almost a touchdown. Brought down inside the 2. First and goal.
This Auburn offensive line just starting to come off. Big holes up front.
And Artis Payne to the goal line, stretching, and touchdown, Auburn.
Good effort there by Tago, the linebacker. And that ball is clearly over the goal line before the knee goes down. Good effort from Cameron Artis Payne, but that touchdown was paid by the big offensive line up front.
They got a really good group up there, even though they lost Craig Robinson. Left tackle was the number 2 pick. They've got their center, Reese Dismukes, making his 39th start. Chad Slade, the left guard, his 38th start. Avery Young, Patrick Miller, and also Sean Coleman, who's a great story. We'll talk about him a little bit later. But Auburn bounces back after the big play by San Jose State. All 60 yards on that drive by the Tigers on the ground. They had the lead back.
Adnan Burke and Robert Smith in our college football studios. Michigan State and Oregon, Jeremy Langford, 16-yard touchdown run here.
Nice little counter action. Step one way, come back the other. Jeremy Langford really coming along for this Michigan State offense.
But Oregon responds, Robert. Marcus Mariota and Devin Allen.
It looked like some sort of mix-up in the secondary there. Drummond, one of the more experienced guys, came up. Got him right behind.
Ducks leading it by 11. Any pass back to you.
Well, Big Ten unimpressive, to put it kindly, today. Michigan State needs that game, not just for it, but for the conference. It's all about perspective now in the playoff era.
That's a tough assignment in Pat Narduzzi, one of the best in the business at adjusting. I fully anticipate them getting back on track.
Another deep kickoff, and Irvin will take a knee. It'll come out to the 25. Let's bring in Tom Luganville.
Well, guys, just watching the dynamic between Gus Malzahn and Rhett Lashley, the offensive coordinator. Now, Rhett Lashley has been with Gus Malzahn since he was a player at Shiloh Christian High School, so there may be no more of a trusted offensive assistant in all of college football. And as they got down here inside the red area, their communication, they see the down and distance. Gus is going to yell it out to Rhett. Rhett's going to give him a couple of choices based on their sheet for down and distance, and then Gus takes one of those that he likes, dictates the tempo, and off they go. It's a really interesting dynamic of communication down here.
San Jose State back on offense. Get back to that point that Tom just made here. As they run it, Monroe to the 30-yard line, gain of 5. Well, Rhett Lashley, I think this is a guy we're going to be talking about in football for a long time. He played for Malzahn in high school, so maybe no one knows Malzahn's offense better than Lashley. Been his OC now a few years, including at Arkansas State. Likely a head coach at some point.
Yeah, no, he was really impressive in our conversations with him. He has full command and control of this offense. I think Gus Malzahn is beginning to give him more and more, as Tom was alluding to, giving options as to what plays to call. That's not easy to do.
Here comes a sweep to Tyler Irvin, and again showing his speed. They get nailed by Therizi, but San Jose State will take that. A first down outside the 35-yard line to about the 38. Therizi 5'9", but about 215 pounds.
Yeah, he's put together. We saw him in practice yesterday. It's not easy to get 215 on 5'9".
They go empty here. A little wide receiver screen, and Irvin is swallowed by Chris Frost right as the ball arrives. So minimal gain.
You can see Auburn taking away the best player for San Jose State and Tyler Winston. And so what does Jurich do? He's adjusted and trying to get the ball to Tyler Irvin, their other playmaker, at that time sniffed out by Chris Frost.
Little pistol set here on 2nd down and 9. Monroe in the backfield. Thomas Tucker battling a foot injury. He's their normal starting running back. Monroe, a lot of running room off that left edge. He's out to the 45 before Frost makes the stop. A gain of about 6. 3rd down coming up here. About 3 to go.
And this Auburn defense, as we mentioned last week in the first half, gave up 7.2 on average to the Arkansas backs. They're good backs, but that's a lot of yardage.
And look at the rushing yardage differential. Auburn already has over 200 yards of total offense. Quarterback draw, 1st down and more. Jurich is a pretty good athlete. That wasn't the greatest fall in the world, but he gets the 1st down to the 45-yard line.
Great block right here from the halfback. Take a look at it. He's going to come up on Casanova McKenzie. Frees the lane for Jurich. Just needed a little bit. Casanova McKenzie goes for 250, and Brandon Moore came up. You're not always going to get the ball, you know, but you got to be unselfish and do what you need for your team. That was a great block.
Play fake, and Jurich looking downfield, and there's distance between the receiver and defender, but the pass was out of bounds. Tyler Winston got past his man Trevon Reed, who's a converted wide receiver, and Winston had a beat.
Yeah, missed opportunity. Great route by Winston. Reed just learning the position. Ellis Johnson, defensive coordinator, says he has all the talent, but he needs to learn the position. And if that ball is thrown upfield on target by Jurich, it's a touchdown. That would be the 2nd one on double moves in this game for San Jose State.
And he gets single coverage again down here. They're going to run it on 2nd down. Irvin straight ahead, planted by the middle linebacker Casanova McKenzie, their leading tackler from a year ago. Brings up 3rd down and about 5.
And this is where Ellis Johnson wants pass rush. He said that's our biggest question coming into the season. Losing D Ford, Carl Lawson, their stud defensive end, a true freshman a year ago, is hurt with an ACL. Who is going to step up for Auburn on the edge? Is it Gabe Wright, Montrevious Adams? They need somebody.
They're hoping to get Lawson back at some time this year. That ACL happened in the spring. 3rd down and 5 for San Jose State. The play clock is at 3. Jurich saying snap it. Quarterback draw. He's stretching but comes up short. Montravius Adams made the tackle. 4th down and a yard. Let's see if San Jose State goes for it.
Now, in this case, you got to go for it. You know Auburn is going to score pretty much at will in this game.
They get up there quickly, too. Quarterback sneak. And, boy, it's going to be close. Initially, it did not look like he got it. Spot not exactly favorable for San Jose State. Needed to get to the 35-yard line. They're going to need to measure here. Nope, maybe not. First down, says Dan Romeo. Thought they'd at least take a look at it. Gus Malzahn is saying, how can you not measure that?
Well, 4th down and 1.
He's calling a timeout here. He can challenge that.
First charge timeout. Auburn. 30-second timeout.
No announcement of a challenge. First down, San Jose State. Ron Carragher elects to go for it on 4th down and 1, and his big quarterback Blake Jurich, 6'4", 235. After a quarterback draw on 3rd down, quarterback sneak on 4th down, and able to push the pile enough to move the chains. And even if Malzahn would challenge that, it'd be tough to overrule it. You looked like you could see the ball there. Just surprised they didn't measure it initially.
I love watching Gus Malzahn on the sideline. You know, he is so into the game, so passionate, always thinking. The wheels are always turning. And it's not just when his offense is on the field. It's throughout the entire game. He may burn more calories on the sideline than any coach in college football.
Funny, when you and I were watching practice Thursday, you mentioned that, and I kept watching him. And he didn't stop. Back and forth, sideline to sideline. Okay, so we did get the challenge from Gus Malzahn. And again, it's going to be very tough. You have to have indisputable video evidence to overturn the ruling in the field. And you have to be able to see the ball clearly here.
Yeah, there's a push there. He's still up now, and the fullback comes up and pushes him. And, you know, it looks like he gets close to the 35-yard line and extends the ball out. I felt like it was a fair spot. And based off the spot, there was no question with the referee that it was a first down. So I don't see how you could overturn that call.
And when is he down? He's laying on bodies, and there they blow it dead. But San Jose State, you got to be impressed with what we've seen from them offensively. You know, Blake Jurich has shown that he can run the football. Had a deep ball that he overshot.
After further review, the ruling on the field stands as a first down.
So that language tells you they didn't have enough video evidence to overturn the ruling in the field.
Yeah.
So play stands, 1st down and 10 at the 35-yard line of Auburn.
And if I'm Ron Carragher here, you know, you get to the 35-yard line. You've taken 2 shots downfield, both of which were open. You hit one, you miss one. If I get man-to-man coverage here, I'm going to take a shot on this Auburn defensive secondary.
Primarily Mountain West officials tonight. 1st down and 10. Blake Jurich, new starter. David Fales is the guy he replaced. Fales is in the NFL. Late round draft choice. Here's Irvin on the cutback. Flag flies. Irvin loose on the perimeter. Inside the 25 and banged out of bounds around the 20. But the flag thrown in the area of offensive holding.
Holding. Offense. Number 51. 10-yard penalty. Still first down.
That's their center, team captain David Peterson.
Yeah, he was tangled up with Gabe Wright right in the middle of the screen. Take a look. Wright got upfield and was in position to make the play and just tried to disengage. It's a good call. You get that arm extended, and everybody in the stadium is going to see that.
First penalty of the game. So now it's 1st and 20. And no running room that time for Hifu. Got back to the line of scrimmage. And brought down by Frost. That'll be 2nd down and 20 as we near 1 minute remaining here in the opening quarter. 14-7 Auburn. Tigers also look like they're going to get another touchdown, but Nick Marshall fumbled as he was trying to get into the end zone at about the 2-yard line.
Second down.
Ball went through the end zone. It was a touchback. And Jurich rolling out, tried to dump it off to Hifu out of the backfield. And Jurich took a shot as well as he released it. Third down at 20.
Yeah, Jurich has an opportunity to drop this to Hifu. This is a difficult throw with under pressure, but one that you got to make. The quarterback, you come on the road into a hostile environment against a top 5 team, and if you want to move the ball and score, those are plays that the quarterback has got to make.
San Jose State, a 6-win team last year, beat Fresno State at the end of the season, did not go to a bowl game, hoping for a better mark this year. So far holding up okay here on the road through almost a full quarter. They just got the play out there on third down and long. Jurich, and his pass is picked off. Jermaine Whitehead bringing it back into San Jose State territory. He had a pick 6 last week. About 20 yards on the return.
Jurich is trying to fit the ball into Crawley, and Whitehead is reading his eyes the whole way. Great job of not interfering by Whitehead. He's keying him right off the bat, just baiting Jurich. Makes a great play on the ball. Jermaine Whitehead has got to be the leader in the secondary for Auburn. He had an interception a week ago. He's got to get these guys lined up and get their confidence back playing man-to-man coverage, and doing these kind of plays will go a long way.
Whitehead, a senior from Mississippi, 29th career start tonight, and gives the ball back to his offense in San Jose State territory. Marshall hands it off. Artis Payne trying to shed a tackler. Can't. Brought down after a good gain, though, of about 7 at the 38-yard line. Artis Payne, a senior. Corey Grant, a senior. And Nick Marshall, a senior. A lot of experience, even though many of the players didn't get a lot of reps. They've been on the team for 4 or 5 years. Artis Payne busting it to the outside. And contact finally made inside the 25-yard line. A gain of about 15. And that's the end of the first quarter. Well over 200 yards total offense. Auburn, which led the nation in rushing last year. Over 160 rushing yards in the opening quarter tonight.
ESPN is your home of the new college football playoff.
Welcome back to ESPN College Football Primetime. You're watching the SEC on ESPN. The Auburn Tigers, the defending SEC champs, leading San Jose State after 1 quarter of play, 14-7. They ran it successfully between the tackles. No surprise there. 103 yards of their 179 from tackle to tackle. Gave up the big play, though. Tyler Irvin. Some mistakes by the secondary on that play, but otherwise the defense has been solid. A takeaway by Jermaine Whitehead with an interception. Nick Marshall also with a giveaway, fumbling the ball as he was going in to score. First down inside the 25 of San Jose State. There's a movement up front.
Delay of game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. First down.
And Gus Malzahn wondering, okay, how does that happen out of a timeout?
And when he doesn't get upset with the quarterback, he knows it was probably his fault. You come from the sideline, you got to get that play called and get those guys on the field.
So 1st and 15. Artis Payne trying to find a hole off right tackle. And gets back to the original line of scrimmage. Adrian Blake on the stop. 2nd and long coming up here for Auburn. Tigers have a brutal schedule this year. They go to Kansas State. They're off next week, and then they go to Kansas State Thursday night on ESPN, although the Wildcats didn't look great against Iowa State today. And, of course, their SEC schedule. Here's Grant to the outside. And Grant upended right at the first down marker by Jimmy Pruitt. 3rd down and 1 coming up.
And you see so many different paces from Auburn. They sugar huddle here. Normally when they do this, it's some kind of misdirection, some kind of naked or reverse or pass of some sort. They get in that quick up-tempo out of the huddle, and that's how Gus likes to disguise his formations.
So 3rd down and 1. Artis Payne tackled right at the 1st down marker by Lucy. Looks like he has it, though. And he mentioned that SEC schedule. They got LSU, South Carolina, Texas A&M at home. They go to Alabama, Georgia, Ole Miss, Mississippi State. Some think Auburn has the toughest schedule in the country, in part because of that game at Kansas State.
Yeah, not to mention they're drawing South Carolina out of the East as well, and they got to go on the road to Manhattan, Kansas in a couple weeks.
Got A&M here at home. That looks like a lot tougher game after what we saw the Aggies do against South Carolina. 1st and 10 inside the 15-yard line. They shift Grant into the backfield, and Marshall will keep. Can't get the edge. Good open field tackle by Pruitt. Minimal gain.
A great play by Jimmy Pruitt. If he doesn't get Nick Marshall on the ground, he's going to score. He's got the lead blocker and Fultz outside, and Pruitt reads it well along with Bouhajur. Sure-handed tackle on Nick Marshall. This looks like a pressure look from San Jose, and Gus Malzahn's trying to read it from the sideline.
And Marshall to throw. Pass is high and incomplete. Try to hit Da'Keil Williams. Cleveland Wallace defending. 3rd and long.
They read that perfectly. Brought the blitz off the edge and just didn't execute with the throw. Duke Williams, a big target, could have brought that down. Got man-to-man again at the bottom of the screen on Duke Williams.
And again, looking to the sideline, Malzahn and his assistants having a conversation. Now the check comes. Marshall drops back into the gun. Marshall throwing. This time hits Williams to the 5-yard line and tackled right at the 1st down marker by Hightower.
I think you get man-to-man coverage with Duke Williams at any point in this game. You can take that shot. I think that's the approach Gus Malzahn's going to take. So big.
4th down they're going to go here. 4th and inches.
The way this offensive line has been coming off. You mentioned the production inside the tackles. This would be Cameron Artis Payne territory.
And Auburn they did have enough guys on the field. Lewis, back in your screen. He thought the coaches were telling him to come out of the game. Here's Marshall and Artis Payne to the end zone. Touchdown, Auburn. 2nd touchdown tonight for Cameron Artis Payne. He had 6 all of last year. Freshman kicker Daniel Carlson trying to make it 21-7. A 2-touchdown lead for Auburn.
If you had this kind of an offense with this number of players that can make plays, you'd go for it on 4th down too. As many opportunities you can to get the ball in these playmakers' hands. You need to do it.
Get your first NFL Sunday started at 10 a.m. on ESPN with Sunday NFL Countdown presented by Snickers. And before you set your lineups, Fantasy Football Now, delivered by Papa John's at 11 a.m. on ESPN2. A great day of football tomorrow. And great day today as well, capped with some great night games. And in case you missed a video of the touchdown that you just saw by Cameron Artis Payne on 4th down, posted on the SportsCenter app, available on your mobile devices and tablets whenever you need it. 9-play, 45-yard drive. They have run the ball 15 times out of their last 17 plays on the last 2 scoring drives. Going to be a touchback. And when they did throw it on the past 2 drives, there was mixed results. With more on that, here's Lugs.
Yeah, on that red zone series right there, they tried to throw that slant route that time to DeQuil Williams. And as we've talked about with Nick Marshall, the ball's high. And there's a difference between being intense and angry with Gus Malzahn. He's angry, and he's screaming at him. You can't miss that guy. He's wide open. Run it again and complete it this time. So what do? Very next snap, calls a slant route inside to Duke Williams. Nice throw, foot in front of the numbers, and off they go. Nice answer that time by Nick Marshall.
Yeah, when your coach gets on you like that and says, run it again, they do that quite a bit in practice. If you don't hit it the second time, you thought he was angry, he'd be real angry.
Jeremy Johnson might be in the game. A great block on the outside, but just too much speed for Auburn. Hansel Wilson trying to get away from those secondary members, and Jermaine Whitehead made the tackle, so not much there.
But I think that's a difference this year with Gus Malzahn and how he's going to coach Nick Marshall. Last year, he may have had a little bit more patience with him as a new quarterback and a new system. This year, I think he's going to be coaching him as hard as he possibly can, because he knows that he can throw that ball, and he does it in practice. Just needs to be able to do it consistently in games.
You know, Marshall had success throwing the ball in the national championship game against Florida State. Over 200 yards, 2 touchdowns passing. Jurich grabbed by McKenzie and wrapped up at the 23-yard line. So 3rd down and long coming up. And McKenzie going to be interesting to watch what they do with him this year. He's a linebacker, but might see him in the front sometime.
Yeah, well, he needs to be in the front because he's about the same size, a little bit smaller than Carl Lawson, but has the similar kind of a skill set in being able to rush the passer off the edge.
See what they do with him here on 3rd down and long if they bring him. Keep an eye on number 8. Nope, he's dropping. And so's the quarterback. Jurich sacked by 300-pounder Montravius Adams.
Ellis Johnson was on Montravius Adams to get to the quarterback. He comes inside in 3rd down situation. That's just a great rip move. He's so big and he's so quick. Now that he's figured out the defense and how to use his hands, he's dangerous.
Carrizosa punting. Quan Bray, the deep man. Bray into San Jose State territory. Made the first guy miss. The second man, a third. Inside the 20. Touchdown, Auburn, 55 yards. (28-7) Auburn. 21 straight points by the Tigers. Quan Bray had a lot of room in front of him. The white jerseys were there, had no shot. 55-yard punt return for a touchdown by Quan Bray. Auburn leads it 28-7.
ESPN College Football Primetime is brought to you by Buffalo Wild Wings, the official hangout for NCAA football, and Dick's Sporting Goods. Visit ESPN Fan Shop powered by Dick's Sporting Goods for your officially licensed fan gear.
With Brian Gracie, Tom Lugan, Bill and Auburn, I'm Dave Pash. And Auburn on top, 28-7 over San Jose State. Some big games tonight in college football. Michigan State and Oregon. Spartans actually leading at halftime on the road.
You were ready to bury him after the first highlight.
They're down 11-0 at one point.
Connor Cook looks like he's on fire. 2 touchdowns, over 200 yards passing in the first half.
Ohio State, Virginia Tech just underway. Over on ESPN. As that kickoff goes into the front row. Well, so far Auburn rolling on offense and special teams. 200 yards on the ground. He just saw that 55-yard punt return for a touchdown by Quan Bray. They've been excellent on third down. Had one mistake on defense, giving up that 75-yard touchdown, and also Marshall fumbling it as he was about to score, turning it over.
Yeah, I think Gus Malzahn would tell you just actually 2 miscommunications are getting beat in the secondary. And then I want to see Nick Marshall continue to grow as a passer. I fully anticipate to see them continue to throw the football in this game and get those live reps.
Irvin, Montravius Adams all over him as he gets the handoff. Adams, a sophomore, did not start a game last year, but it's a guy to watch this year and next couple years if he stays that long.
Yeah, and they need him. They really need him up front. With the losses that they have had, he needs to be their best defensive lineman up front. Now he's playing inside where he's traditionally been playing defensive end.
Jurich in a wide receiver screen. It hits Winston to the 26-yard line. So we got a handful. Third down coming up.
You know, Montravius Adams was a top 15 overall player for us 2 years ago when he came out. Now keep in mind, he came out in the same class with Carl Lawson, who was right behind Robert Kimdichie in our minds as pure pass rush defensive ends. And we're seeing tonight with Montravius Adams, he's starting to grow up a little bit. He's in much better condition now that he's gotten to a collegiate program than he ever was before, which is allowing him to star and blossom as a player.
You got him, Blackson, Gabe Wright, and Whitaker all around 300 pounds on that defensive line as the 4 starters. Jurich in trouble and sacked at the 20-yard line. There's Wright. Brings up 4th down.
Well, and you didn't even mention Ladarius White. Also, you're going to see, here's Ladarius White, but watch the push from this defensive front. Ellis Johnson was telling us they're bigger, almost as you said, all 300 pounds around it. That was Gabe Wright getting in, but he likes the fact that he's got a big defensive front.
You're talking about Ladarius Owens there. Elijah Daniel as well, as that might have hit a San Jose State player, but it's Auburn ball around the 45-yard line. Starting to get pressure on the San Jose State quarterback. Auburn leading by 3 scores. Coverage of the WNBA Finals starts Sunday on ABC. Brittany Griner and the Phoenix Mercury against Chicago in Game 1. WNBA Finals 2014 presented by Boost Mobile. 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific tomorrow. One of the best stories in college football this year is Auburn left tackle Sean Coleman. After 3 years battling leukemia, last week made his first career start. He has 3 years of eligibility left, and the coaches say he has a shot at the NFL. Here's Williams on the catch. Stiff arms the defender. Penalty marker down. Williams got about 9, but you're going to have face masking here on Frierson. Well, Sean Coleman signed with Auburn in February 2010. He was diagnosed shortly thereafter.
Face mask. Defense. Number 5. It's a 15-yard penalty. First down.
I thought it was really classy of the NFL. He got to announce a draft pick this year at the draft, and here it is, Roger Goodell allowing him to announce a pick when the Rams took Aaron Donald. They also took 2 of Coleman's former teammates. The guys replacing Greg Robinson, left tackle, also Trey Mason. Here's Marshall on the rollout. And Marshall throws back to the middle of the field. Dangerous pass, incomplete. Trying to hit Melvin Ray.
You know, and I think what people don't realize about Sean Coleman is they have big plans for him. They feel like he's one of the more talented players that they have on their offensive line. In fact, Gabe Wright, the defensive tackle, said that he's one of the best run blockers he's ever seen, and he's actually stronger than Greg Robinson. So it's not like this is just a feel-good story. Sean Coleman is an outstanding football player with a bright future in front of him.
Here comes the check from the sideline. 2nd down and 10. Hardest Payne busting it to the outside. To the 20-yard line. Beautiful move there to the 10, 5, and out of bounds around the 1. He talked about him losing weight. How about the quicks? 31-yard scamper.
He looks quicker. He's now going down from 220 to 210, and he wanted to be that every down back that could feel confident that he had the speed to bounce it. Right there, no question.
They'll give it to him again, and he's in. Touchdown, Auburn. Third today for Cameron Artis-Payne. Well, last year Trey Mason had 23 rushing touchdowns, and through not even a game and a half, Cameron Artis-Payne has 4. There are a lot of good backs in the SEC. Todd Gurley, of course, at Georgia. Mike Davis at South Carolina. Cameron Artis-Payne, I got to watch in the SEC here in 2014 also.
Adnan Burke and Butch Davis. Lots of scoring. Michigan State, Oregon. Here it's Connor Cook to Josiah Price. Michigan State's up.
I tell you what, you get in the red zone, you better defend the uprights of the end zone. Great touch throw.
6-point lead for the Spartans. Dave, back to you.
I hear Coach Davis's voice in the studio. He coached in many of games like this where it's 85 degrees with 100% humidity. Look at Auburn's numbers when they score 30 or more. And school record 12 straight games now, 30 plus. And during that span, they've been over 47 times and likely going to be 8.
You see anybody this year keeping them under 30?
Well, we watched Alabama last week, and it didn't look like their defense would be able to do it. Actually, they kept them under 30 last year. They just gave up the special teams touchdown at the end of the game. Here's Irvin. Scored the touchdown for San Jose State. Nice return here out past the 30. Let's take a look at this week's college football rankings brought to you by Allstate, the AP Top 10. Alabama won the day. Oregon, as we mentioned, trailing at halftime. No problem for Oklahoma. And A&M in a delay right now. Ohio State, Virginia Tech over on ESPN. Georgia not playing this week.
The story really of the day is the Big Ten underperforming in games against the MAC, and really all of the chips are in with Michigan State. I mean, they're really the only team in the Big Ten right now that has a chance to impress.
Ifu for about 4 yards. So if Ohio State beats Virginia Tech, obviously it's not the same degree as Michigan State going on the road and beating Oregon. Ohio State struggled in the first half with Navy last week before pulling away. And Wisconsin had that lead against LSU despite poor quarterback play, and then gave away the lead.
Well, Wisconsin looked awful today.
2nd and 7, no running room for Hifu. 3rd down and long.
You know, with teams, I know it's easy to get excited week 1, and you get excited about seeing Texas A&M, and USC looks great versus Fresno, and then narrowly ekes one out versus Stanford tonight. But I think everybody needs to tap the brakes a little bit. We don't know enough yet. Nobody is as good as they may have looked, and probably nobody's as poor as they may have looked. And in the era of the human mindset and the subjectivity of the college football playoff, perception is going to be everything. That's why the Big Ten and how they perform this weekend is going to be critical down the stretch.
The era of the human. Mark that down from Luke.
Nice pass by Jurich on 3rd down. Tim Crowley gets the 1st down. Well, think about it. Let me back Luke's up here, because in the past you had humans and computers. Now you just have 13 people in a room picking the Final Four.
Yeah, I think the biggest difference now is with this component is they're trying to figure out who is the best team. Not the most deserving team, but the best team. And that's where the human element comes into it. That, say you have an injury and you want to say this team should be there, but they have an injury. That's where I think the judgment call comes in.
Here's Hifu, big hole, and gets the 1st down. I think everybody loves the fact that there is a playoff now. You have 4 teams. But there's uncertainty as to the expectations for this group. How much are they going to consider injuries? How much film are they going to actually watch? Are they going to watch more film on games later in the season than games earlier in the year, even in some of these big interconference matchups? And that's got to be offside. Gabe Wright jumped.
Offside. Defense, number 90. Contact in the neutral zone. 5-yard penalty. First down.
So a selection committee will start at the end of October releasing their top 25. And then eventually their final poll will feature the top 4 in the semifinals, starting this year with the Rose and Sugar. And then you'll have a total of 6 games on New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. 2 playoff games on New Year's Day, and the championship game 11 days later at Jerry's house.
Yeah, and I think what people also need to understand is this committee is picking the top 25, not just the top 4. They're picking the top 25, so we'll have ramifications for all of those bowl games.
Hifu gets a couple yards. And again, my biggest question is, because you've got some football people and you have some non-football people, if they're picking the best teams, how much tape is being studied? Are they watching parts of games? Are they watching full games? Are they watching a game a couple of times when they get down closer to the Final Four to try to decide who's the 4th team and then who's the team left out?
It's impossible to watch it all, right? And when we had the BCS system and you had the coaches poll, and we want to think that the coaches were actually filling out those polls, but we know it wasn't always the coaches. It was sports information directors and athletic directors, assistants.
Jurich, oh, what a catch. Over the shoulder by Winston, inbounds at the 13-yard line.
Tyler Winston made plays last week just like this. He's got control and a foot in. That's well done. Perfectly thrown away from the defender.
Now 2 feet in. Look at him drag that right foot even though he didn't need to.
And that's on Jonathan Jones, who gave up some plays last week. It's the one remaining concern of Auburn in the secondary is their ability to play man-to-man coverage, and that's what Ellis Johnson wants to do.
False start. Offense, number 71. 5-yard penalty. First down.
And, you know, Ellis Johnson's been coordinator for 40 years, coaching for 40 years, has more experience than just about everybody in college football, and he's got a certain way he likes to play. He likes to play simple man-to-man coverage, take away all the space, as he says, in zone coverages and match up in man-to-man and get pressure on quarterbacks. And this Auburn defense is continuing to grow to what he wants it to be.
Quarterback keeper here, Jurich, inside the 15, knocked down by Mincy. A gain of 3 or 4 there. 2nd and long coming up.
Tackled by number 6, Jonathan Mincy.
I thought it was interesting in having the conversation. We were talking, if you're a corner coming out of high school and you're going to go play in the SEC and you're one of the best coming out, you're looking at the LSUs, the Alabamas, the Floridas before you look at Auburn. And I think that's hurt them a little bit in recruiting.
I think the corners that Florida's had the last couple of years. Leonard Hargraves, who was a freshman last year. 2nd down and 11. Going for the double move. Church to the end zone and incomplete. Almost intercepted by Whitehead. Already has 1 pick tonight and 2 on the season. That'll bring up 3rd down and long.
I think Ellis Johnson's going to have to adjust how he wants to play this season with this team. He knows on offense they're going to score so many points. So do you need to play man all the time and take those chances when you have young players? You can protect them a little bit playing some zone coverage if you're up in games.
And can you get away in the SEC without having an elite pass rusher?
No, you can't. You got to get pressure on the quarterback.
3rd down and 11. There's a wide receiver screen to Winston. And beautiful tackle there by Mincy at the 11-yard line. So 4th down coming up. And San Jose State will bring in the field goal team.
Sorry, Dave. Mincy's that guy that really, their corner that they're trying to hang their hat on. He played well in the national championship game against Kelvin Benjamin. Gave up, you know, at the end there, that play that allowed Florida State to get down and end up scoring that. But he's a guy that they need to play well in this man-to-man defense.
Tough angle, 27 yards. Man, Austin Lopez makes it. And it's 35-10. Auburn late in the 2nd quarter. Back here in Auburn, Dave Pasch, Brian Greasy, Tom Luginbill, 35-10. The Tigers on top. What a beautiful campus. My first trip here, and just really enjoyed walking around. And obviously the spirit here, the school spirit, is as good as I've seen at any school, and just the nighttime atmosphere here at Auburn is spectacular.
Let me ask you a question. How do you come here for the first time and miss the Eagle fly into the stadium? I mean, how does that happen?
I was looking at my notes, studying for
you were studying. You were being studious. Okay, yeah.
I was actually looking before. Luganville was trying to interview the Eagle. I was waiting for him to take the microphone out of his hand. I got distracted.
Really cool to watch that bird come in.
You were on the floor. Don't kid anybody. You were scared. Under the table. Now the expectations are back sky high here. 2 years ago they didn't win a league game. Last year they won the conference and played for a national championship, 13 seconds away from winning a title. Here's a pooch kick, and it's going to be Auburn ball at the 24-yard line as Anthony Swain is there. Let's go to Adnan in the studio.
All right, thank you very much. Coming up on the halftime report, the slugfest in Stanford. USC and Stanford certainly was an exciting game. Also in the Outback Steakhouse halftime report, we'll talk about 7 touchdowns and a loss. How does that happen? And also the Spartans going duck hunting. So far, it has been a game featuring Braun versus Blur as one headline instead of Michigan State putting up the points. All that more coming up at the half. Dave, back to you.
All right, looking forward to it. What do you make of USC knocking off Stanford today?
You know, it's not a surprise. I think, you know, the top 22 players on USC can play with anybody in the country. It's their depth that really concerns you. If they can stay healthy with the injection of energy from Steve Sarkisian, they're going to be a factor in the Pac-12.
Marshall looking deep, showing off the arm strength. Knocked away at the last second. Incomplete. Cleveland Wallace, a transfer from Washington, batted it away before Ricardo Lewis could make the catch. This is Tom Luganville's best pregame interview.
Guys,
did he give anything good, Luke?
Let me tell you something. I've learned how to phrase questions so that they can't give you a one-word answer, and he gave me nothing.
Did you have dead mice in your pocket, Luke?
Yes, I had several, and he ate every one.
Corey Grant on the carry. There's a penalty flag down. I thought I heard him chirp the name Loogie, a la Steve Spurrier.
Offense, number 51. 10-yard penalty. Second down.
And Patrick Miller committing the penalty there. Holding. Imagine we're going to see Jeremy Johnson at some point at quarterback for Nick Marshall. Johnson started the game last week after Marshall was suspended for marijuana possession, so he did not start the ball game last week, did not play the first half, but Jeremy Johnson threw for 243 yards and 2 touchdowns. It was his 3rd career start. Think about it. After Cam Newton left, I mean, they had like 7 or 8 different guys they were trying at quarterback. Yeah. They couldn't find one. Now they have 2.
Well, you could argue, and I would argue, that they have the 2 best quarterbacks in the SEC on the same team.
Really?
On the same team. Jeremy Johnson's an outstanding football player, and after Nick Marshall exhausts his eligibility, he'll have 2 years left. And oh, by the way, he's going to have a couple guys by the name of Sammy Coates and Duke Williams still on this team as well. So the future is bright for Jeremy Johnson. There will be a package for him this season. And I think if you're Gus Malzahn and Rhett Lashley, it may change the way you call a game and your level of anxiety around Nick Marshall getting hurt, knowing that you have such an outstanding player in Jeremy Johnson that can fill in.
How would you call it? Would you call it differently? Would you change up formations, plays? Would you not run Johnson as often as you do Marshall?
I just know that I wouldn't have any hesitation in calling any play in my offense any number of times. If I didn't have a good backup for Nick Marshall, I might force him to hand the ball a little bit more than the defense would certainly dictate. But I think it's just a luxury as a coach that you don't have that anxiety in having to prepare your backup quarterback in case your starter goes down.
Well, you think about the quarterbacks in the SEC, you've got a lot of new guys. Kenny Hill performed very well. for Texas A&M. His first game replacing Johnny Manziel. But no more A.J. McCarron we saw last week. Obviously, even though Blake Sims played well, that question of who the next quarterback at Alabama is unsettled. Luke's has more downfield.
You know, Jeremy Johnson, guys, if you go back to when he was recruited here by Gus Malzahn and signed by Auburn, and then Gus Malzahn takes the Arkansas State job. So he knew what was here when he came back to Auburn. And when they signed Nick Marshall out of the JUCO ranks, keep in mind, Nick Marshall was not involved in spring football prior to the start of last season. And the knowledge of what they had in Jeremy Johnson, albeit he was a true freshman, they were prepared, not quite knowing what was going to happen with Nick, to play with Jeremy Johnson as a legitimate opportunity and chance as a starter as a true freshman. So the confidence there is, as Grease has stated, it is a luxury that few coaches at any level of football have right now.
You think Nick Saban wouldn't love to have that kind of situation right now? I mean, it's invaluable, and I think Auburn's going to benefit this year from it.
By the way, what was going on there while we were having that discussion, San Jose State declined a holding penalty, so it's 3rd down and 8. Nearing 2 minutes to go. They're going to bring pressure here, and by the time Marshall threw that ball, Duke Williams was apparently not expecting it. Coming out of his break, it's 4th down.
And this is why you continue to throw the ball even though you're up 35-10, is to get the communication right. There's a blitz here. You see the blitz coming right here, and the quarterback and the receiver have to read it at the same time. Clearly, Nick Marshall was expecting Duke Williams to break that off quicker, and nothing. You can't learn anything faster than experience. And for Duke Williams, that'll be a great experience to learn off the film. When I see those two guys blitz, I've got to break my route off.
Here's Carlson booting it deep, and it's fair caught inside the 30-yard line. 41-yard punt, no return.
And what he's saying, 2 guys came to your side, Duke. If 2 guys come to your side, that makes you hot. So you forget about your route that you were going to run as a part of that route. You got to break it off on a quick slant. And they're going to get better week in and week out. Marshall's learning every single day, and Duke Williams tonight, with having Sammy Coates out of the game, he's the featured guy, and so they're going to continue to get more and more on the same page as the season goes on.
Coates is banged up, but not a serious injury, so he'll likely be back for Auburn's next game, which is until the 18th at Kansas State on a Thursday night. Catch made by Irvin, but wrapped up and dropped by Joshua Holsey. 2nd down. Maybe 1 yard on the game.
You see this Auburn defense now starting to get a little more comfortable. We saw that last week after the first half. They settled down and really played well in the second half against Arkansas. And they need guys like Holsey, young players that playing for their first time, to continue to make these plays consistently.
Completion there, a gain of 5 yards, so 3rd down and 4 for San Jose State. Spartans just 2 of 8 on 3rd down so far. Game was tied at 7 midway through the first quarter. Jurich out of empty. Quick pass is caught. It's a 1st down. Tim Crawley inside, or rather past the 40-yard line. 1st down. 2 timeouts remaining for San Jose State, and they had trouble with the snap. Jurich falls on it, loses about 8 or 9.
2nd timeout, San Jose State. 30-second timeout.
So 1 timeout remaining for San Jose State. Sunday night at 8, it's Sunday Night Baseball presented by Taco Bell. Miguel Cabrera, reigning AL MVP in the Tigers, taking on the Giants. The Lions hosting Monday Night Football. Doubleheader on Monday with the Giants, Lions, and San Diego, Arizona.
I guess to be that time of year where you've had college football for 2 weeks, and now you start with the NFL schedule, and you still have the baseball. I mean, what a great time of year for sports.
Hoops will be starting here in about a month or so. Bruce Pearl, the new men's basketball coach. We had a chance to chat with him a little bit yesterday. Former colleague of ours here at ESPN. On 2nd and 17, Jurich to Irvin, breaks a tackle and then steps out of bounds. By the way, if you're tired, like I know you were a little cranky last night, and so you needed to pick me up, you hung around Bruce Pearl for about 5 minutes, and you had as much energy as anybody. He's a lively guy, great recruiter, terrific coach, and you know, Auburn's basketball team has struggled for a long time, but great to see Bruce get a second chance. He'll do a great job here in Auburn. So you're not commenting. You need Bruce in here to get you pumped up. We got a whole half to go here, Pat.
We got it.
3rd and 18. Jurich downfield and intercepted off the deflection. Jonathan Ford has it. Now Auburn's got the ball in midfield, and they've got a couple of timeouts with 53 seconds left. Through the hands of Crawley into the arms of Ford.
Yeah, Jurich just throws this ball. Could have been caught by Crawley. Looked like a knuckleball, but a little bit behind him. But that's the worst result. Ball came out a little. Didn't look like it was tipped. Just came out a little bit squirrely out of Jurich's hand. You know, Jurich was in a battle for the starting quarterback job, and through the spring and the fall with Joe Gray, the redshirt junior. I wouldn't be surprised if they get Joe Gray some reps in this game in the second half.
Some good work here from Marshall in that first team offense in the final minute on the hurry up. Marshall got to fire it deep and broken up, almost caught by Ricardo Lewis, like Georgia, although this time was on the ground. Saw him hang on to it last year.
Nick Marshall's got a good arm. Watching him in practice last year, you saw he can get that ball out there, but that one is a little bit short. If he leads that a little bit further downfield, Lewis may have made that play.
Marshall on 2nd down, and the pass high intended for Bray, so it's 3rd and 10. Marshall is right around 50% completion rate. Actually, after that incompletion, he's now 6 of 13, just 62 yards passing.
Yeah, and last year he was a 59% guy, and talking with Rhett Lashley, he'd really like him to be up around 65%. Remember, all those throws were a number of them downfield last year of open receivers that if he hits them, this offense would be even more explosive.
Marshall with time, and boy, he put something on that one. Caught by Williams inside the 40 at the 36-yard line. 1st down, Auburn.
What a great target, Duke Williams. Take a look how big he's, 6'2".
15-yard pickup. Marshall again over the middle. Almost intercepted, then almost caught by Melvin Ray, but incomplete.
And this is the base passing game that Gus Malzahn has been talking about, throwing the ball on rhythm, on time, and in the right spot. That was a skinny post on the weak side. It was a good read. Melvin Ray ran a good route. The ball's just behind him. You can tell Gus is a little bit, yeah. He's not happy with the way that ball's coming out of Nick Marshall's hands right now.
Short throw here and a swing pass to Cameron Artis-Payne. And Auburn's going to call a timeout here inside the 30. Brian, you're talking a lot about accuracy. How much for a quarterback is footwork involved? Most people think about the arm, but what about the feet and your base?
Well, it all starts with your feet, because your feet tell you when the right time to throw. So if you're taking a 3-step drop, you know you get to that back foot and the ball's got to come out. If it doesn't come out, then you reset your feet and get to the next read, to the second read, and then to the check down. So for a quarterback, your feet tell you when you should or should not throw a pass. That last pass, that skinny post, he hit his back foot and let it go. It just was behind him.
You were saying sometimes last year he'd have his body positioned over here, let's say, and the pass would go over there. He wouldn't turn his body and throw to the target.
Yeah, and I think that was all the coaching that you get in high school. You know, he played a couple of different positions. He was, you know, playing defensive back, and you just don't work on it as much as you probably should as a quarterback with your footwork, and sometimes you get lazy. But right here, take a look. That's great footwork. No hitch, no wasted motion, but he just needs to lay that out in front of the receiver.
3rd down and 3. And they'll run it. Artis Payne gets the first down, so the clock will stop to move the chains. Auburn does have a timeout. 14 seconds left. They're not going to call the timeout here, though. Reset the ball and then start the clock.
First down from the 25.
Marshall going to fire it deep, going to the end zone. And incomplete, but a flag. Frierson defending Williams. It will be interference. 4 seconds left.
And that, if there ever is one, that was a good penalty from Frierson, because that was going to be a touchdown. Now, as it is, might just be a field goal attempt.
Pass interference. Defense, number 5. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
Duke Williams with the size. He's going to go up and make this play. Frierson gets there a little bit early, but with only 4 seconds, you take a potential touchdown and you turn it into an attempted field goal.
Yeah, with 4 seconds left, you have to go for 3 here.
First down from the 10.
Carlson, the new kicker, replacing Cody Parkey. A very strong leg. Doesn't need it here, though. 27-yarder. And that makes it 38-10 at halftime. And remember, could have been worse. He had Marshall fumble the ball as he was going in to score. And Gus Malzahn standing by with Tom.
Coach, you talked about having confidence and poise in your base passing game. A little bit of a disconnect out there in the first half. What do you attribute that to?
Yeah, I tell you what, there was some good stuff that happened too. You know, the thing that I'm a little disappointed is we fumbled right off the bat the very first drive. Everything else is okay. We're playing a pretty good defense right there, so I'm okay with it.
Beginning of the second quarter, you got into the red area here. Had some communication problems with substitution, sideline to the field. What do you attribute that to?
Well, we just got to be more organized. That's the bottom line with that. But I think we scored on that play, so, you know, it worked.
All right. Good luck.
Thanks.
38-10. Auburn looking to go to 2-0 and make it 11 straight wins here at Jordan-Hare. Adnan, Robert Smith, Butch Davis, the Outback Steakhouse halftime report.
A journey to the next great championship in sports. ESPN, home of the new college football playoff. New Year's will never be the same.
Payne to the goal line, stretching, and touchdown, Auburn. Artis Payne to the end zone. Touchdown, Auburn. Welcome back to ESPN College Football Primetime. You're watching the SEC on ESPN. All Auburn as expected, 38-10 over San Jose State. Tigers ranked 5th in the country entering tonight. Dave Pasch alongside Brian Greasy, Tom Luganville down on the field. Well, San Jose State at least knows that they're not the only team that Auburn ran against. Auburn, the best rushing team in college football last year. They did it against several very good SEC defenses. Ran for over 300 yards last week against Arkansas. On pace for that again here tonight.
But I think you need to start to respect this offensive line up front. They lose Greg Robinson. That was the biggest question mark in the offseason. How would Sean Coleman, the new left tackle, respond? Well, let's take a look at the first half. He was more than up to the challenge. You see the size he has, 6'6", 310 pounds. He needs no help in double team. Some of these routes, some of these blocks up front, you see Dismukes, Chad Slade, Avery Young, and Pat Miller. This offensive line has a chance this year, Dave, to assert themselves as one of the better ones, if not the best in the nation.
And Sean Coleman, the left tackle, replacing Greg Robinson. He's a sophomore, but he's been around the program for a while after a 3-year battle with leukemia. You have an underclassman in Avery Young, a sophomore, but the two guys, you mentioned Dismukes and then also Chad Slay. Between the two of them, almost 80 career starts. San Jose State will get the ball to start the second half. Here's Irvin across the 20 and out near the 27-yard line. So we talked about Auburn going to have another 300-yard day on the ground, already 237. They had a punt return for a touchdown by Bray. They gave up one big play through the air. Otherwise, as Gus Malzahn told Tom Luginbill at the half, thought the defense played pretty well.
Yeah, and they score 5 out of 6 times in their possessions on offense. And the thing coming in that we talked to Ellis Johnson about, his biggest concern was getting pressure on the passer, and they were able to do that. They made Jurich get off of his mark several times. They've got him on the ground several times. They've forced 2 interceptions in this game.
San Jose State will keep it on the ground here on 1st and 10 with Lemihai Hifu, who was not even on the 2 deep coming into tonight, but because of some injuries, he's getting some reps. And on first down, did not get anything. After tonight, Auburn will have about 11 days to prepare for its next opponent, a Thursday night game on ESPN at Kansas State. K-State struggled, but beat Iowa State today. Jurich leveled as he throws, incomplete. Montravius Adams, who's been mauling people right in the face of the quarterback on that play too.
Well, you can tell these guys have heard it in the meeting rooms. Montravius Adams just goes right over the right guard, and I know you're down 38-10 in this game. If you're Ron Carragher, head coach for San Jose State, you know, you want Jurich to be healthy coming out of this game. You're not going to put him in a whole lot of situations where this defensive line for Auburn can just tee off on him. They're outmatched up front. I mean, that's pretty obvious.
But as a team that won half their games last year, 11 games 2 years ago. A timeout here by Carragher on 3rd down and 10. So step aside, come back, 3rd and long for San Jose State, down 38-10. Get your NFL Sunday started at 10 a.m. on ESPN with Sunday NFL Countdown presented by Snickers. All the latest news from stadiums around the league up until kickoff. And over on ESPN2 at 11 a.m. Fantasy Football Now delivered by Papa John's. Both also available on Watch ESPN. And a doubleheader Monday Night Football on ESPN as well. Auburn leading 38-10 over San Jose State. Early 3rd quarter. And a 3rd down and 10 for Blake Jurich. And Jurich able to run and get the 1st down, diving for the 42-yard line. So a gain of 16.
Good job by Jurich, recognizing man-to-man coverage downfield. When you get under pressure like he's been under in this first half of this game, your eyes start to come down a little bit quicker, and it's natural as a quarterback. And that time he was fortunate there was a crease. Once he got past the first line of defense, it was everybody had their backs turned.
They hand it off to Hifu. And on the cutback, he gets to the 46-yard line, brought down by Elijah Daniel. 2nd down. Casanova McKenzie is in on the stop as well. Here's Jurich. And with Owens trying to bat that ball down, Jurich able to complete it to tight end Billy Freeman. First time we've called his name, but again, you see the speed of Auburn as they flock to the football. 3rd down coming up.
Billy Freeman, one of our impact players to start, even though it was only about his mustache. Got to see it there through his face mask. Good looking stash on Billy. He's a playmaker. Last year he averaged 16 yards a catch in this offense. And obviously David Fales, the quarterback, a little bit more explosive offense, but he's going to be a big part of this offense this year.
3rd and short. Can they pick it up? Good effort by Hifu. They'll spot him right at the first down marker. Spun down by Daniel in Auburn territory. Looks like he got it. It is a first down. Good effort by the back because Daniel was all over him. Ron Carragher, 2nd year, was Troy Aikman's backup at UCLA in the late 80s. Spent some time in the SEC as an assistant at Kentucky. Play fake here for Jurich. Going downfield, and the pass is on the money. Pulled in inside the 10-yard line. It'll be 1st and goal for San Jose State. Catch made by Jordan Soares.
Play action, hard play action. You see Ford, the safety, comes down. That's Jonathan Jones, number 3. He has been the weak link, first week and a half of the season. Auburn's going to continue to challenge for the SEC championship. They have got to get more consistent play from their secondary.
They go at a 2-back here and off play action. They try to hit the fullback, Chris Dadson, could not hang on. 2nd and goal. You know, we saw Alabama pass defense struggle a little bit last week. Auburn has had its moments here tonight.
And both these teams got to play Texas A&M, who we saw shred South Carolina. So there are going to be some teams in the SEC that they're going to play. They're going to throw the football around. They've got to be better in coverage.
9th play of the drive here for San Jose State. George handing it off, and again, he for good effort, but he only makes it to the 5-yard line, so it'll bring up 3rd down and goal. You would think it's all 4-down territory at this point in the game for San Jose State. You had McKenzie in there again, 250-pound middle linebacker.
And McKenzie's the kind of linebacker that is getting to a point now where they're so big, 250 pounds, that you wonder how much they can play against these spread, speed, perimeter offenses. But McKenzie has enough athletic ability to run sideline to sideline.
And got Tyler Irvin lined up in the backfield. And off play action, Jurich rolling out. And his pass knocked down by Devontae Lambert. Either that or Jurich just lost the ball as he tried to throw it. Hard to tell if Lambert got a piece of it or not. It's 4th down. They're going to bring on the field goal team here. It's rolled a fumble, so he did lose the ball, by the way, as he was trying to throw it. Lost 7 yards on the play. Now it's spotted where the ball went out of bounds behind the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, take a look. It looked like he was just going to throw this ball away, and you're right, just slipped right out of the back of his hand.
So we got to kick the field goal now. 4th and goal. 29-yard attempt. And that one is no good. It was a good drive by San Jose State, but come away with no points. And it remains 38-10 Auburn after the short field goal missed by Austin Lopez.
Back at Jordan-Hare Stadium, 3rd quarter, Auburn 38, San Jose State 10. You know, we've talked about the passing game for Nick Marshall, and Gus Malzahn wanting to be confident with just the routine-based throws. So when you look at the first half and you see the slant route after he missed one to DeQuil Williams over the middle of the field, he's in rhythm, he looks smooth. That's what you want to see. That's a confidence throw. Now you go back a little later on, and he's into the pocket. Now he's got to move his feet just a little bit, and he comes back to the right and hits with a laser DeQuil Williams over the middle of the field, but watches his feet lead his eyes. We'll talk more about it in just one moment.
You saw the numbers there, Luke, so far. 50% completion rate. Had the fumble. It looked like it was going to be a touchdown. Went through the end zone for a touchback. And they run it here to Artis Payne. And he's tackled at the 26, Tom.
You know, guys, if you watch his feet right here, what they want out of him is they want him to be able to step to his throw. As he steps to his throw, that's where he's going to lead his target. When you watch that second play, he was here, and then his feet came back here to throw. A year ago, what he was doing is he'd come here, and he'd never bring his feet back, and he'd throw there, creating a lot of inaccuracy, and the ball sailing off to the right. Those are the improvements in terms of mechanics that they want to continue to see out of Nick Marshall.
Probably tough to throw in rain boots as well. Marshall up to the 28. Guys, we another shot of Luke's shoes, please. Third down. Hey, a lot of games have been delayed today, so he came prepared.
Hey, man, that was good stuff Luke was giving you right there. He's going to get all over his shoes, or you got to wear galoshes when there's a chance of rain. Dry fit pants on top of that, aren't they, Luke?
Marshall keeping it, gets the first down. Oh, big time tackle by Tago.
Hey, guys, I can't wear my routine boots when I might have a danger of rain and lightning. I got to prepare.
Doesn't the water just go right off the snakeskin?
Oh, no. Well, crocodile, yes. Snakeskin, no. But listen, I know it's nice being in your covered perch up there.
Meanwhile, a San Jose State player just went down. You don't want to speculate, but it's where you see cramps a lot, where a guy just goes to the ground. And they're working on that right leg. Can't see the number. It's incredibly humid here in Auburn. 9 minutes to go in the third. Back in a moment.
ESPN College Football Primetime is brought to you by Nissan, premier partner of the Heisman Trophy, and Dave & Buster's, your new football headquarters, the only place to watch the games and play the games.
You saw a shot there. Current Cincinnati coach and former Auburn coach Tommy Tuberville is the 2004 undefeated Auburn Tigers honored before the game. They did not play for the BCS championship. 2 teams ahead of them unbeaten. And, you know, Tacos and people, that sparked a lot of discussion about needing that +1 or a playoff because Auburn was left out of an opportunity to play in the championship game. How about Cincinnati getting 2 byes to start the year? That's why Coach Tuberville could be here tonight. Their first game is until next weekend. And here's Nick Marshall trying to get outside. He'll get wrapped up for a loss of about 2 or 3.
Now that 04 team was outstanding. I mean, they rolled through the SEC. They had one close game. They beat LSU 10-9, but you know, you had some outstanding players on that team. Cadillac Williams and Ronnie Brown, that combination. Jason Campbell. You know, when I was in Tampa, we drafted Cadillac Williams in the first round with the 5th overall pick, and what an outstanding back he was, both in college and at the pro level.
Here's another good back, Corey Grant. He's out to the 37. Now that team beat Virginia Tech in the Sugar Bowl. Finished 13-0.
And Mike Slive has said that was the initial spark around the conversation around the playoff, was that undefeated Auburn team not even getting a shot at that national championship team. So it's apropos their 10-year anniversary. They're honored here tonight.
Marshall on 3rd down, and a pass off target intended for Tony Stevens, so it's 4th down.
Again, you see a little bit off in the passing game, and it's hard to tell in these situations. Tony Stevens, does he come out of his break? You want Nick Marshall to lay that ball out front. That's a good throw right there. That's a good throw. When you're a receiver and you're coming on an in-cut like that and your head whips around right out of the break, that's a sign that you didn't run out of your break. And that quarterback is depending on you to be in a certain spot. Tony Stevens got to be in that spot.
Short punt and the fair catch signal. Irvin has it at the 25-yard line. So a decade later, we have a playoff. And here are the committee members. Pat Hayden got in a little bit of trouble today in the USC game. And I told you about that at halftime. You got current ADs Jeff Long included as the chairman of the 13-member playoff selection committee. The end of October, they'll release their first top 25. And then at the end of the year, the top 4 playoff teams. And a lot of questions as to how they'll handle if there's an injury to a team during. I mean, they're supposed to pick the 4 best, where before with the BCS system, you really had the 4 most deserving because the computers were involved looking at strength of schedule as the catch is made by Monroe. And he's loose in the secondary. Out of bounds around the 44.
Yeah, and I think, with respect to the committee, we're going to see how this plays out. We're going to learn a lot. They're going to learn a lot. I think if you ask them, we've talked to a couple of them the last couple of weeks, they're going to learn a lot about how this is going to play out and how they're going to work together. But let's start from a standpoint that respect those people for being able to stand up and do this job. That's not going to be an easy spot. Their face is on this college football playoff for good or bad. And they're going to spend a lot of time meeting. They're putting a lot of work into this. So let's give them some time, see how it works, and give them the benefit of the doubt off the bat.
Jurich dumping it off to Freeman, and he's out near midfield. Hey, you've got
and they've earned respect, too.
Well, yeah. I mean, look at the history for a lot of those guys and what they've done for the game of college football.
Yeah.
What they've done for athletics.
And I know there's a ton of questions, and there's going to be a ton of heat coming from all kinds of places as soon as we get into October, November, and decisions are made. But I think, that group of 13 have earned our respect, and at least from my standpoint.
On 2nd and 5, Monroe trying to cut back and drop short of the first down by Chris Frost. People, for the last several years, it seemed like it really amped up. They didn't want to even talk computers anymore. They wanted computers totally out of it. Well, they got their wish. Now it strictly comes down to these 13 people. That's it. That will determine the 4 teams that make the playoff on January 1st. And there are a lot of athletic directors that aren't on that committee that are unsure how things will play out. But that will determine future scheduling as well. Like games like this, instead of San Jose State, as there's a penalty flag down, and the SEC sticking with an 8-game schedule.
Well, that'll be the positive.
Auburn has to play Kansas State, but maybe they schedule another opponent that's in that major 5 conference.
We all benefit from that. We all, as fans of college football and passionate about this, we all benefit from that. The teams, the players, right? I mean, these players, they love playing in games like Wisconsin, LSU, and those games to start the year. I think you only have so many games as a college football player. Why not make them all big, as big as we can? And so I think that's one byproduct that right off the bat, I think starting next year is going to be a benefit.
He asked Gus Malzahn about that. He said, I won 8 games. I don't want to go to 9. There are a lot of SEC coaches that disagree with him. Here's Jurich, big running lane inside the 15 and tackled near the 10-yard line.
With the BCS, and there's been a lot of discussion about, well, if you lose the BCS calculations, they would have gotten the top 4 teamers right over the last 3 to 4 years. But what the computers and all of that could not do is it couldn't give the eye test. It couldn't provide that human element that creates the subjectivity. And I think that's something that's actually wanted and also important as we move forward in the college football landscape here, as we see another penalty prior to the snap.
Issue with the snap that time, false start. We should be happy, too, that it's 4. I've heard so many people say, oh, they got to go to 8. That's the next step. It's going to be 8, and it's going to be a year or 2. Look, it took 16 years to get to 4 from the start of the BCS to get to 4 teams. I think we should just be grateful we're at 4 right now. I don't know that we should even go that far to think that anybody between 5 and 8 can be. Would anybody between 5 and 8 have any chance against Florida State last year?
No. So I think you're right. Start with 4, and we got 12 years as part of the contract. We got 12 years. I don't see that changing anytime soon.
After the penalty, 1st and 15. And Jurich will keep. And chased down by Ford.
Good job by Jonathan Ford. We've talked a lot about this secondary and giving up plays and miscommunication. And, the secondary in football is one of the hardest positions to play for communication purposes because things are coming fast at you. The players are much further apart. From a safety to a corner, there's a big amount of distance, and it's hard to communicate adjustments to motions and things like that. So it's going to take some time for this young secondary.
Movement all over the place, and to the end zone, broken up. Offside will be the call there, the free play for San Jose State. Defender was not drawn off.
Offside. Defense, number 1. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
That's Montravius Adams, who's guessed right more than he's guessed wrong on the snap count.
He's been a beast tonight. I mean, and they need him to be that beast. But he's played almost exclusively on the inside tonight. Ellis Johnson was saying he was happy with him being at the defensive end position, but I think he's a natural 3 technique because of his size, 310 pounds, and his first step, his quickness in the first step. I think that's his natural position.
Food grabbed by McKenzie and tackled. Third down. San Jose State still fighting, trailing by 28 points. 4 minutes to go in the third quarter.
Been impressed with the skill positions for San Jose State and their ability to make some plays. We've seen Tyler Winston make plays, Tyler Irvin. Tight end Freeman has made some plays. Irvin's not in the game at this juncture, but he'd be a guy look to get the football to.
That 75-yard catch and run for a touchdown in the first half. Third down and 6. And Hefu trying to do what he can. He cut back, but too many Tigers around him. Lambert brings him down. Also there, Justin Garrett. That's fourth down.
Yeah, you got to go for it in this situation. And if I'm Ron Carragher, I'm gonna allow Jurich to. But they're going to kick. They're going to kick here. I don't get that. If you're down 38-10 at the end of the third quarter, you need points. You might take a shot with Winston, your tallest receiver, on the outside against a couple of corners that have struggled.
Plus, he just missed a field goal inside 30 yards last time. And he makes this one from 24, but still a 25-point deficit. 38-13, Auburn. Dave Pax, Brian Greasy, Tom Luganbill, and Auburn. Want to give you a disclaimer. We're going to do something different here for the next series or two. It's called Film Room. It's something we've done in studio. We're going to do it live, and that's basically where we take you inside what a coach's room would be like, breaking down film. But we're going to do it while the game is going on with Brian and Tom. I'll kind of direct things, and Brian and Tom will talk about what they're seeing over the play, formation, as well as what they're seeing defensively.
So you're going to be the head coach?
I actually get to be the quarterback finally. You two guys get to be the coaches.
It is a different thing when you're in a coach's room and you're watching tape, review of a tape. There's so many things that they're talking about that you wouldn't normally hear.
Sure. You saw the perch there was smart, right? They dropped the ball, and we'll see if Auburn did recover, and they did, so it's Auburn football. Why not, right? Why not try that?
Smart. I mean, see if everybody's got their head in the game. And they didn't. Fumbled it.
Well, guys, down here, I'm going to be able to look over the shoulder here and see the perspective from field level. Also got a monitor right here so I can see what Grease is looking at as he's kind of dictating some of the things we want to outline about this Auburn offense, a little bit of the evolution of it over the course of time, and really what they're trying to accomplish here as we take a look at them getting underway here on this series.
And you see these sets. These are traditional sets. This 4-wide set. And people think that's a spread offense, but it's really not. This is a downhill running team.
Now what happened? Breakdown their protection. They're great throw.
Yeah, breakdown in protection, but a great job by Nick Marshall of buying time and finding a completion. Things aren't always going to be perfect. The pocket's not always going to be perfect, and as a quarterback, you got to make them right.
Been a little hurry up in here for Nick Marshall. Now they're in a little bit more of their traditional set out of the backfield, Grease. And that's a staple in the run game for him right there.
You guys talked about downhill running attack. People don't really talk about that enough, right? About Auburn?
Well, and they don't. And it's so hard to play linebacker against this team. It's so hard to see the keys. Right now you see guys going in the backfield. One guy's going one way, one's going another. And then you have maybe the best running back, one of the best in the country, and Nick Marshall, who can still get out the gates on you. So it's very difficult for these linebackers to read their keys in the backfield.
Grease, as we watch Auburn line up, and here's their sugar huddle, so we're going to expect to see a little. They're unbalanced. This is when you're going to see them come to the line of scrimmage quickly. This is something that is meant to get you off guard. Watch how quick they're going to snap the football here. And they don't go unbalanced here.
Great read by Marshall there. Nobody open downfield, and you dump it off to your back, and you get a first down. People don't like game management. They don't like when they talk about quarterbacks that way, but that's what it does. Get you a first down, a fresh set of downs. Don't force it downfield. I mean, that's playing the quarterback position.
Grease, a year ago, he would have tucked that football, his eyes would have come down, and he would have taken off, and he would have run. To come down and show that progression of knowing the offense and knowing where to go with the football, I think that shows the evolution of Nick Marshall, and they're going to have it. If they don't have more consistency in the passing game from him, as far as taking what the defense gives them and working through progressions, we talked about this all week long with Gus Malzahn, and we've seen it on tape here tonight.
Hey, Tom and Brian, how much of what we just saw there is a read in terms of whether he hands it off? You saw the back come in front of the receiver, who was a running back, come in front.
Right.
Is he reading the defense there, or is that a pass all the way?
That's a great question. When you read downfield 1 to 2 to your outlet receiver 3, that's a design play action. Now, they do have some plays where they will read that, and Nick will keep the ball and come to the outside, and if there's pressure from the outside, he'll flip it to a wide receiver. We saw it happen in the Alabama game to tie up that big touchdown, and we saw it, in the Seattle Seahawks use that play. But take a look at this. You're going to get motion. Motion affects the defense. It's a design play action. He's looking downfield. Nobody downfield open. Great job. Look how much space Grant has to get a first down. That's the right read. That is what Rhett Lashley, that's what Gus Malzahn want to see more of from Nick Marshall.
Buhaja was shaken up, by the way, for San Jose State, getting help off the field.
And Dave, as we look at that play, and we saw a great angle there from the sky cam, and we're probably going to see it here again, and we see the motion that's coming across the formation and how that influences the defensive alignment and affects the linebackers and the deep safeties. Watch the movement, because what this offense wants to do is they want to influence you, and then they want to get you into a conflict of assignment with your eyes. Eye violations on defense get you in big trouble with a lot of misdirection.
And now, is that a design quarterback run all the way? It's a touchdown. No read on that. That's a design quarterback throw.
It was great design. You take the back out of the backfield. That moves the linebacker. And great block by Chris Slade. Great design there. When you have take a look at Chris Slade. He's right here. He's going to come up on the linebacker. And this is how you draw it up in the meeting room. These guys, when they watch the film tomorrow, I'm going to say, great look. Perfect call in the right situation.
I figure you guys want to break down the extra point, so I'll do it. It's on the way and good. 45-13.
We'll let you break down the kicker.
Thank you. Yeah, appreciate it.
Grease, I think that play right there, and I realize it was Nick Marshall, and you've got the quarterback draw right there. But I think a myth needs to be dispelled about this offense. There's this notion of the spread offense, and I don't know if this offense could be anything further from that. This is derived from the old Delaware wing tee. It started with 3 plays. You had the counter, you had the power, and then you had the buck sweep. And then the evolution of the dual threat running quarterback, Grease, changed this as the zone read came into play. And yes, they might be in spread elements, but its simplicity made it look complex. What do we have? 4 run plays, 6 pass plays, essentially, and some wrinkles, as you mentioned, Grease.
Yeah, and the play action is really the last piece of that. That's going to add so much more sting to this offense. But you're right, it is very simple, and these guys learn it very quickly. The thing that separates Gus Malzahn is the tempo with which they're operating this. And quite honestly, Nick Marshall is making hundreds of decisions throughout the course of a game, both on running plays as well as passing plays. And as he gets better in making those decisions, this offense is only going to get better.
Well, kind of goes to what you guys like to talk about a lot, and what we mentioned last week when we were showing Nick Saban's list of what he likes in quarterbacks. First thing was smarts, and how you handle things pre-snap and in play. How you read things. It's not that easy just to go into an offense and play quarterback, and that's, Jacob Coker is a guy that's really talented, but haven't been able to get on the field and supplant Blake Sims yet.
A lot of people are talking around the country about the best quarterbacks, and Jameis Winston and Marcus Mariota and Brett Hundley. Nobody ever talks about Nick Marshall, because it hasn't been pretty when he's throwing the ball, and it hasn't been consistent. Nobody can argue his impact on a game, and that's the big reason why Auburn was in the national championship game last year. If he can add that consistency in throwing the football, look out.
I'll call this one for you here. It's going to be a double pass. Jurich is dropped. I know you guys are trying to make the pencil neck play-by-play guy obsolete, but I do have a purpose. Mincy with the tackle. And it's a loss back at the 8-yard line.
Why didn't that play work, Dave?
Well, he didn't block Mincy. That's why.
Here we go. We toss it. Now, what are you going to do if you're 27 right here, Dave?
Well, he's got to throw it back to the quarterback, and then don't you over here have to block Mincy?
That's a fantastic job, though, guys, in all honesty, of maintaining outside leverage, not getting caught up with your eyes in the backfield. Even if there was no pressure on Juris, there was nowhere to throw the football.
Are you telling me that 27 wasn't supposed to do that? What did he do wrong then?
No, he was supposed to throw it back.
So what went wrong?
Great read by Mincy. Just a great play by Mincy. And this is a situation here. If I'm Ellis Johnson, we're sitting in the meeting room tomorrow. I say, okay, guys, 3rd down and long, backed up. Pin your ears back. I want to see who can rush the passer. I mean, we've had struggles with that. I want to see who can get after the quarterback.
That'll do it. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, you'll see it next week. If you didn't, you'll never see it again. But
cutting room floor.
We had fun.
If you would have analyzed that better, we might have stuck around.
Auburn, national runner-up last year, hoping to get to the playoffs this year. 45-13, leading San Jose State. They've run for over 300 yards for the 12th straight game, also over 30 points for the 12th straight game. As Jurich sets up a wide receiver screen, and Winston able to get away from a defender and get positive yardage. By the way, Nick Marshall has a rushing and passing touchdown today. He did that 6 times last year, where he had both in a single game. It's also his 7th consecutive game with a rushing touchdown. Would have had 2, but he fumbled going in on the first drive.
Surprised we haven't seen Jeremy Johnson yet. It might be the 4th quarter for Jeremy Johnson.
Well, there's a number 14 returning a punt. It's not Nick Marshall. It's Stephen Roberts, a true freshman. He won't get a chance, though. Kicked out of bounds. Let's check in the studio with Adnan.
All right, thank you very much. They appreciate the Dr. Pepper Conference update. Royce Freeman for Oregon as the Ducks offense alive, Robert Smith.
I'll tell you what, this is all Oregon needed. Another running back to go with Tyner and Byron Marshall.
They can put up points in a hurry, Dave.
Yes, they can. We were complimenting Michigan State for a while, and then you look up and Oregon scored again. Leading by 12, Ohio State down 2 touchdowns late first half against Virginia Tech. As Jeremy Johnson is in the ball game. He started last week. He started a couple games last year. He's an excellent passer and try to show off his arm here. And there's contact. Had no chance to get it to Marcus Davis. No flag. I think Davis actually stepped out of bounds. The official tossed his hat down on the ground. Johnson is a sophomore, 6'5", 230. Played in 6 games as a true freshman last year.
And he was really impressive in 1 half last week against Arkansas. 243 yards and 2 touchdowns. Offense looks a little bit different. Gus Malzahn to throw the ball a little bit more, a little less of the zone read and outside run with Johnson in the game.
Johnson puts that one on the money to Quan Bray, gain of a handful. This was Nick Marshall last week. Coming into the second half, was suspended, did not start the first half. And Jeremy Johnson, the offense was good in the first half, but when Marshall came into the second half, not only did the offense pick it up, the entire team did. The defense only gave up 2 rushing yards in that second half.
But I think this whole Auburn team has confidence in number 6. They know that he is a big-time player and that he just happens to be playing behind a real game breaker in Nick Marshall.
Johnson on 3rd down, a laser caught for a first down. Melvin Ray on the catch inside the 20 to the 18.
You see a little bit of the arm strength and the anticipation. It just looks different coming out of number 6's hand than 14. You see that anticipation in front of the receiver. If I was a receiver for Auburn, I would love playing with Jeremy Johnson.
Here's Johnson running the ball, trying to stiff arm the defender. And tackled out of play right at the line of scrimmage.
I thought it was interesting. I saw a quote from Jeremy this week talking about he's been, Nick's been working on his passing all offseason. I've been working on my zone read game, and Nick's been helping me with how you read it and where your eyes should be. He really wants to be that quarterback that can do anything in this offense, even though he's not as electric, and he admits that he's not quite as fast as Nick. He's like, I want to be able to do that zone read stuff too.
Did I hear you say that you think he's the second best quarterback in the SEC?
I do.
Behind
you name me one that's better. We don't know a whole lot about Kenny Hill.
One week, Melvin Ray on the catch first down.
But name me a quarterback that's better than Jeremy Johnson.
I'm struggling to come up with one.
Exactly.
Good throw here. 15-yard gain.
First and goal.
I'd be hard-pressed to put Bo Wallace there.
No.
Running play as Peyton Barber takes it to the goal line and tackled just short of Pater. And Dak Prescott, you put him above Jeremy Johnson? No. Mississippi State. Second and goal. Barber tackled short of the first down by a true freshman, Maurice McKnight. Nice play there. So third down and goal.
Peyton Barber's a guy that they really liked. Had a great spring practice. Was consistent and then got hurt the first play of the spring game. So they didn't really get to see him with live bullets.
Here's Johnson on the run. He'll score. Touchdown, Auburn.
Whether you agree if he's one of the best in the SEC or can start anywhere else, doesn't really matter. He is the best backup in all of college football, and for that reason, Auburn is in really good shape if something were to happen to Nick Marshall.
That's the 5th rushing touchdown of the game for Auburn, and the Tigers lead it 52-13. Monday Night Football is back. A Week 1 doubleheader starting at 7:10. Eli Manning and the Giants against the best receiver in the NFL, Calvin Johnson, and the Lions. And then after that, the game that Greasy will be telling his grandkids about, the Cardinals and Chargers, 10:20 Eastern.
What about your Cardinals? What do we need to know? Any shot against Phillip Rivers?
I can tell you this, that Andre Ellington is day-to-day. It's not out of the realm of possibility that he could play on Monday, even though there were some reports that he could be out a month. So
They're going to miss Darnell Dockett. Gosh, that was the one that hurt.
They miss his leadership. Darrell Washington, one of the better inside linebackers, suspended for the year. But enough about the Cardinals. 52-13. Here's Tim Crawley on the return. Tripped up and pushed out around the 30-yard line. 52-13, Auburn on top. 11:49 away from a 2-0 start before a Thursday night game with Kansas State on ESPN on the 18th of September. San Jose State is on the field. The umpire was saying timeout, but looks like they're going to let San Jose State snap the football. Blake Jurich, his second career start. And speaking to the NFL, the guy he replaced, David Fales, NFL draft pick, made the Bears. Here is Hifu. Cut down after a gain of 1. There's a penalty marker down at the 30-yard line. Going to be holding on San Jose State. Let's go to the studio and check in with Adnan.
All right, Dave, an update on Virginia Tech and Ohio State. Michael Brewer completes to Sam Rogers, and right now, Coach Butch Davis, Tech looks good.
Yeah, I tell you what, the one thing you don't want to do is give Bud Foster's defense a big lead.
Up by 14 at the half. Dave, back to you.
Yeah, we'll see Virginia Tech next week, Saturday noon on ESPN.
And that might seem like a surprise or an upset to some, but those that watch a lot of college football know that defense for Virginia Tech and special teams are always going to keep them in games. And the loss of Braxton Miller is just that's going to be hard for Ohio State all season to overcome.
Pass to Crawley is complete to the 25. Well, I know Urban Meyer said this week that, when you play Navy, you don't get as many offensive possessions, so you didn't get to see as much of Barrett as you wanted to, and your practices are so different for a team like Navy than you turn on and play a traditional team like Virginia Tech.
But the problem is not just the quarterback, is they lost 4 offensive linemen, and they lost Carlos Hyde, proven back in the backfield, and then you lose Braxton Miller on top of it, and they just have really struggled to get anything going on offense. They're going to be fine on defense, and that defensive front 4 is fine, but they're going to be on the field quite a bit.
Here's 2nd and 19. And Jurich throwing it downfield and out of bounds, trying to hit Winston. Also, Notre Dame just scored again. It's 28-0, the Irish leading Michigan. Boy,
well, we had to bring that up, didn't we?
It just seems like one of the worst days in memory for the Big Ten, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, if
Iowa came back to win, but you don't feel really good about that.
If Ohio State ends up losing, it looks like Michigan State is in a little bit of trouble. And Michigan State, obviously, that would have been a big win for them. But you're right. Purdue beaten at home, Iowa, Wisconsin, nobody out of the Big Ten looked good today.
Jurich stepping up, his pass incomplete, and it is a final. Michigan State does lose at Oregon, as Jurich is shaken up and holding the left arm. It's 4th down, but
he's battled today.
Yeah.
If you're Blake Jurich, this offense and this team for San Jose State, you come away from this game with respect for Blake Jurich. First time he had a chance to start, 5th-year senior, battled in camp, battled in the spring with Joe Gray, and we said it earlier in the game. Just want to get out of this game with him being healthy, and
I'm not sure if that's going to be the case after the hit by Angelo Blackson. Elbow injury for Blake Jurich, who's been hit a lot tonight. He's hung in there and thrown for 218 yards. Did throw 2 interceptions. One of those was deflected, though.
Yeah, I think he's going to be all right. He looked like he just caught that helmet on the elbow.
Carrizosa picks it up. He's in trouble. Ball loose. And still rolling around. And it's going to be Auburn ball inside the 5. They wanted a touchdown. Everybody upset that they couldn't get to it and score. But they'll have it inside the 5-yard line.
Ron Carriger wanted to come in this game and just compete, play hard. That's just a kicker that doesn't have a whole lot of experience. You got to catch that ball.
Pretty good starting field position, as Carriger probably said. Not only you should catch the snap, but then don't try to lateral it backwards.
You're watching too many Garo Yepremian tapes from these.
Rock Thomas, true freshman, is in the ball game, and on his first carry, he is in the end zone for a touchdown.
Easy as that for the true freshman, right? 1 carry, 1 touchdown. A lot of people in Auburn, Alabama excited about the future of Rock Thomas. Very highly recruited and talented back. So a little bit of power to get in there.
Hard to tell where the ball was. You saw his knee down, but he may have crossed the plane.
They're excited about his ability to power through. He's a big kid, 5'10", 193 pounds, but also he's got the speed to get to the edge.
Artis Payne with 3 rushing touchdowns. Nick Marcia with 1, and now true freshman Rock Thomas with a touchdown. 59-13 Auburn.
ESPN College Football Primetime is brought to you by the Lexus GX. Dare to be spontaneous. And Dunkin' Donuts. America runs on Dunkin'.
Welcome back to Jordan-Hare Stadium. That was the scene last year. Everybody mobbed the field after the victory over Alabama in the Iron Bowl. What a great venue.
Well, and these fans were treated to the Georgia game and the Alabama game.
75th anniversary of Jordan-Hare Stadium. 87,451 seats. And they were all full tonight. Not so much right now, but a good show by the home team. Here's Tyler Irvin on the kick return, and he is tackled short of the 25-yard line.
Yeah, we started out the game talking about what is the balance that Gus Malzahn wants to see of his offense. The inside power zone, check mark. 144 yards and 2 touchdowns, no question. There's no question about that. They're going to be able to run the ball between the tackles. The low sweep, 3 touchdowns on the outside. No problem with that. The question coming in was the vertical play action. 3 of 7 for 19 yards. Yes, there was a touchdown, but there were some missed opportunities. Nick Marshall continued. There's room for growth there. I think Gus Malzahn, and knowing him and what a perfectionist he is, he's going to demand more efficiency and execution in that vertical passing game, and it just wasn't there tonight.
By the way, a new quarterback for San Jose State, Joe Gray, who lost the job to Blake Jurich in camp, junior from Los Angeles. He threw 1 pass last week. He's in there for second down. Here's Hifu, and tackled at the 30-yard line. So as you think about Gus Malzahn and this Auburn team, are they in your top 4? Did you pick them preseason as a Final Four team?
I did. I actually I picked 2 teams from the SEC, Alabama and Auburn, and I think this team with their offense and the way that they have played over the last year and a half, there's no question that they're going to have success on offense. I don't see any of the teams that they have one of the, if not the most difficult schedule in all of college football. But I don't see them being stopped. I mean, I just being realistic. And even if they do lose a game along the way, even if they do lose a game, maybe they lose a game at A&M or Georgia, I think a one-loss SEC team that doesn't play in the SEC championship game can still get into that 14 playoff. With what's happening in the Big Ten and now Michigan State having lost, Wisconsin already having lost, the Big Ten is a long shot, in my opinion, to get to the Final Four the way it stands right now. So that opens the door for a one-loss SEC team, because we know the champion of the SEC is going to be in it.
Ifo outside, dragged down after a short gain. Let's go to the studio.
All right, Dave, alongside Robert Smith, I'm Adnan Burke. Michigan, Notre Dame, Everett Golson, touchdown pass. It's all Irish here.
Well, I tell you, Everett Golson really looks impressive working with quarterback coach Matt LaFleur. Done a great job. How about this? Michigan offense sputtering under new offensive coordinator Doug Nussmeier.
Pitching a shutout after 3. Dave, back to you.
The last meeting for a while for Michigan and Notre Dame, with the Irish playing a lot of ACC games. Gray's pass downfield and a leaping catch by Jabari Carr. Excellent grab in Auburn territory.
Carr's got good size, goes up, makes a play. Oh, he almost came down with that foot out of bounds before his hand went down. That was close.
Carr, a graduate student from San Jose. So first down inside the 45 of Auburn. Gray to the air again, throwing it deep and out of bounds. Let's go back to the discussion on the Final Four. I think even going into the year, most would agree with you that 2 teams from the SEC, the best conference college football, would get in, assuming that one of those teams or both those teams have one loss, certainly the champion, and then one other team. You have to think the Pac-12 champ, although with USC beating Stanford, are we going to see the Pac-12 champ with 2 losses?
I don't know. I mean, the way Oregon looked today against a really good Michigan State team, they have to be the favorite out there. That's the other team that I had in my Final Four, and then Florida State. So Florida State, Oregon, Alabama, and Auburn. And, you know, there was some political pressure to have representatives from 4 different conferences in the playoff. But with the way that the Big Ten has performed, I think, like I said, they're an out. And then what happens in the Big 12? That's the other question, because it's going to come down to the second team out of the SEC and the Big 12 champ. And does the Big 12 cannibalize itself? Because there are so many teams that are right around that same kind of skill level, and can Oklahoma go through unscathed?
No conference championship game, but they play everybody.
Yeah.
You'd have to think, though, if Oklahoma or Baylor go undefeated, they're in. The SEC champ is in. You know, the Pac-12 champ is in again, unless you've got the Pac-12 champ with a couple losses. And what happens if Florida State loses a game?
Yeah, well, that would shake up everything. But they didn't look good.
WNBA Finals begin Sunday on ABC with Game 1 between Phoenix and Chicago at 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific on ABC. The WNBA Finals 2014 presented by Boost Mobile. And a great year for the Mercury. They're thinking championship, just like these Auburn Tigers, 13 seconds away from their second title in 4 years. Last year, won the championship in the 2010 season with Cam Newton running the show. Brandon Monroe brought down in the backfield, had no running room that time. Ben Bradley was there for Auburn. Let's bring Tom Luganville in here. You mentioned your Final Four, Brian. You've got 2 SEC teams, including Auburn. Lugs, what's your Final Four right now?
Well, I certainly would go with Oregon. I like this Auburn football team. Either the winner of either Baylor or Oklahoma. And a lot of that's going to depend on Bryce Petty there. And I do think they're going to be a second team, out of the SEC. I'm not so sure, though, that Florida couldn't be that dark horse team when it's all said and done. So I would keep an eye on the Gators there. We talked about the Big 12, and Grease, you referenced them cannibalizing themselves. Where they could be in slight danger is if you have a Baylor or an Oklahoma, and they're the clear 2 best teams, and the rest of the conference does cannibalize itself. Does it hurt the Big 12 champ if they have a loss, and the loss isn't to the other best team in the conference, and you don't have a conference championship game to make up for it versus a ranked opponent?
There's no question, but that was a nice waffling answer there. You asked him for 4, he gave you a 6.5. So,
hey, that's what I do.
You forgot one team, Florida State. You leaving them out, Luke?
No, I'm not leaving them out. Go ahead and put them in there.
Although you got 7.
Gray on first down, going to throw it toward the end zone, and it is picked off. Trevon Reed gets the interception for Auburn. Don't forget Florida State and Florida play at the end of the year, so that could play a major role if Florida's very good at that point and in contention for the SEC championship.
Yeah, that could be very interesting if Florida State goes through the ACC undefeated, loses to Florida, and then they go to the ACC championship game and they end up winning the ACC championship with 1 loss. That'll be very interesting. But I think this all comes down to the biggest, most interesting thing to me is, let's take Auburn. Say they have 1 loss, but they don't win the SEC championship. And you're going to compare them to an Oklahoma with 1 loss or a Baylor with 1 loss. And you're going to say, who had the strength of schedule? That's what it's going to come back to. Strength of schedule. The committee made that a priority. Both teams have 1 loss, no common opponents, strength of schedule. And what's going to happen is the SEC schedule and the strength of schedule that an Auburn or Alabama has is going to trump that Big 12 schedule.
Rock Thomas on the run. He's out near the 20. Got a new quarterback in for Auburn, Jonathan Wallace, who's played some of that position the last couple of years, so he's getting a shot here. Rock Thomas did the work on that play, though, out to the 19-yard line. Thought we might, at some point, see Tucker Tuberville at quarterback. We still might. There's 5 minutes left. His dad, Tommy, is here, the head coach at Cincinnati. He's here because Auburn celebrated its 2004 national championship, or excuse me, undefeated team. Didn't win a national title, but went undefeated. There's Tucker.
Yeah, he's involved, getting plays and signals into the quarterbacks.
Here's Thomas again, and he tripped up by Tago, gain of 1. Thought it was really cool that even though, you get preparation for Cincinnati, they don't play game till next week, that Tommy was here, hang out with his son, and also be here with that great 2004 team honor before the game. Tucker, a sophomore from here in Auburn. dad was a coach here for a long time, did a great job. Thomas again on the perimeter. Past the 30-yard line. And Tago on the takedown at the 32. Stay tuned. More college football coming up on ESPN2. Out west, Colorado State, Boise State. Mark Jones, Rod Gilmore will have the call coming up. Inside 4 minutes remaining here in the fourth. 59-13 Auburn. 3 rushing touchdowns for Cameron Artis-Payne. So 2 straight 100-yard rushing games for him to start the season. Giving Rock Thomas a lot of work here. Making guys miss. Finally brought down at the 40-yard line, an 8-yard gain.
See the little wiggle from Rock Thomas. Take a look at the other ranked SEC teams this weekend. A lot of padding stat games there. Florida Atlantic, San Jose, Lamar, Sam Houston. Boy, Vanderbilt with a tough start. East Carolina hanging tough with South Carolina. You imagine the old ball coach if they don't pull that out. And Missouri, pretty impressive over Toledo. Toledo's a good ball club, tough place to play.
South Carolina was shredded by A&M last week. Rock Thomas. Run out of play. How about the moves, though, at the point of attack to elude tacklers?
See the athletic ability from Rock Thomas. Mr. Football right here. Now that's, you just can't teach that. I mean, that's the kind of, those are the kind of moves that get Tom Luganville all fired up on his big board.
National recruiting director for ESPN. Tom, tell us about Rock.
You know, at the Under Armour All-America game last year, we had both Rock and Leonard Fournette, and, you know, those guys were competing with each other. And, you know, the one thing, if you watch Cameron Artis-Payne and you see Corey Grant, you see a blend of the two of them. You've got some size, and he's only going to get bigger with more time in the weight room. I think 2 years down the road, you're going to see a different back in terms of physicality. But Auburn does not have a back on their roster that has the explosive lateral and sudden jump cut quickness that we're seeing from Rock Thomas. He brings a little bit of an extra dimension to the backfield, so these are going to be some valuable snaps now as this season continues to wear on. He was a fantastic player in state here at Oxford High School.
Got 45 yards on 7 carries, and he had his first collegiate touchdown tonight.
But I don't see this recruiting slowing down anytime soon. With the way that this offense is producing, if you're a back, a lot of places you can go, but it's hard to argue with the production and the opportunity that Gus Malzahn is going to give you in this offense. You're going to be running in ideal looks every time you get the ball, and that's a really big selling point for Gus Malzahn and this team.
Go back to when he was at Arkansas. Felix Jones, Darren McFadden, 8 years ago.
Peyton Hillis, yeah.
Peyton Hillis, and then, you know, he was the offensive coordinator on the 2010 national championship team here. But I think what you and Tom said earlier, that seems to be kind of a myth in calling Auburn a spread team. They really want to be a downhill running team, and that's what they are and why they have success.
Well, and you look at it. Back at Auburn, he had Felix Jones, who was that fly sweep guy, Ontario McCaleb in the national championship year in 2010. Now he's got Corey Grant. But then he's always had that downhill bloody your nose type back as well. Just so happened in 2010 in the national championship year, it happened to be the quarterback.
Yeah.
We were talking with him last night. They talked about, looked like we had a fumble there on that play. But that downhill back was the quarterback Cam Newton. So they're always going to have that physical up front power run game.
He definitely fumbled, and as you see, just ripped out of his arms by Simon Connett. And then Simon had possession, was on the ground. So when he lost the ball, the play was dead. So it's San Jose State ball. But this game's over with 41 seconds left. Auburn will go to 2-0 and then have 11 days to get ready for Kansas State on ESPN. K-State struggled today with Iowa State. Ended up winning, though. And they got LSU at home. That was the one game in the conference that Auburn lost last year at LSU, September 21st of 2013. Those were the only team to stop them. They only scored 21 points in that game. We mentioned Kansas State, LSU at home October 4th. Obviously the Iron Bowl at the end of the year.
Boy, that Texas A&M game just got a lot more interesting. Dealing with those two offenses going at it, the struggles that Auburn's had in the secondary. They're going to have a lot of chances to get that shored up. But look at the month of October there. That's LSU, Mississippi State. Big games.
And that should be the final play of the game as Auburn knocks off San Jose State 59-13, 358 rushing yards for Auburn. Our final score 59-13. For Brian Gracie, Tom Luganbill, I'm Dave Pasch. So long from here in Auburn. Now let's go to Boise, Idaho. Mark Jones.